draw forth from a fifth of Hennessy. As the times of 89 pay and visit me. Warm days in the cold beer chemistry. Eventually broken up by responsibilities and such. Sometimes it's error mentally I reconstruct. High school I came out it. Cats with clouded graduation got their names shouted. Go to Great America, me and my lady rock the same outfit. My be girls that she hang out with. Round in God came out with piece of my love. Arguing over if he said dumb. Every day the same old with rainbow. Watching the sun twist, cool as a MIG drive. That in the trunk. After parties in Wendy's parking lot. Unfamiliar faces got marked a lot. Showing off the hoes and bricks of rose. Had us charge the box. That demo sorta stopped once AC got popped. Got a hold to some drugs and start thinking they thugs. We be at the Bismarck and the racquetball club, club with Gucci promotions, so we got in free. Against the wall, me and my guys formed a colony. Rana be beaten, saved my day, dancing on speakers, flames. Snapchat was born this way. 87th Street and Hyde Park was warring. Over gossip, Kenwood bras was pouring. Suited in 3/4 Jordans, pro models, and started coats out the back of beauty shops, ballers. Bought a dope, put my name in they verse. EPMD I would quote. Stolen leathers I'd sell like a charter boat behind the beat. I took my first shot of Henny. It hit me in the chest like when Omar shot Benji. Shame on the girl that left her Fendi around crew. Either go through it or take it. We was bound to traveling like vice lords down to the taste. I wanted to bring my lady around crew cause they was snake. House parties was the lick behind bars we come up. At 'em I did the hooper dance with my thumbs up. Nowadays, it's fake. Like that party at McCormick Place. I don't draw with them, cause they was born to trace. At times I contemplate moving to a warmer place than the lake and skyline. Give me a warm embrace, reminding me of the pointed parties Mo used to make. 6 deep in the Hyundai, bumping Twilight tone tapes. Come home late, calling bras, hang up on their mother. There wasn't nowhere to scrap at that we would fight each other. Get a room at the dunes, having fake outs. We eat at Giordano's and break out. Then everybody thought that they could spin. High rollers had the MCM Blazer blend. Jabos and Guess jeans we was taking in. Cranes and freight trains we was breaking in. Timber B, bass and mic down at IIT. Remembering numbers depended on how high it be. It's a deja vu when I see bottles of kill. My man Seth Pass, I feel hollow but still.
Situations, even though it seems, there is every We having the party, we till we pass out until it be over. I'll be up, so come on over. We doing this every day, and it's all day. So follow me if you wanna feel the love. Look, we having a hell of a party, party, party. Hey, this could be another wonderful day. When we maintain taste, no think it's the same thing. If we got the pops, we'll thug the block, baby. Without the shots, we can't stop, won't stop. Once you receive her, everything you see is swisher, sweeter, creeper. Won't you fly through the sky with me? Come on, get high with me, and you will see it's only real when you ride with me.
We are having a party, 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 party. We having a party. We are having a party, 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 party.
Everybody be glad they had us, cause we're so thuggish, ruggish, and yo, we're good, humble people. On the ground to teach the world to be a thug in harmony, so peaceful. And an organ reached us, blowing this instrumental wide open, making examples out of we soldiers, giving you the real thirst of devotion, bringing my city with me, pay me. Every day it's going down. In the town I stay, come around my way, hit a beat to the thunder sound, with all of my peoples on their feet. Now can I get it more? We never come weak, we always strong, that's how we roll.
Let's jump in once again, the smokers in there, and players from everywhere, staying true to the game, riding real as well as prepared. Got my mind focused on this whole Mo Thug style. How we dipping down, lay a path and then stand. That's how it be everyday routine. Play it, grab the green, make them come clean before you hit the scene. You know what I mean, know what I just about the love for it. All the way around Mo Thug, putting it down. Coming from the C-Town, round up your soldiers, cause it just don't stop. It's all about Mo Thug, all the way to the top.
Yo, we rollin' with Mo, so get out, get up, get up, habit. I said you rollin' with Mo, so get out, get up, get up, habit.
This is all Mo Thug. This is all Mo Thug. Much love. This is all Mo Thug. This is all Mo Thug. Much love.
Peace, Islam, LAOA, Sheekamauga Alamassee-El, coming at y'all live, deep down, Alamassee Arabian country. deep in the compound, deep in Arabia, deep in the turf, the holy turf, stay fortified. You know, the science, military science, the real Mo science, you know. But yeah, just doing a real quick tap in with y'all. You know, I ain't been as active lately as I was in past months, you know what I'm saying? But again, I really get out here and get it. You know, real life, real responsibilities, a real Mo. I really work for the empire, you know what I'm saying? I don't work for no Europeans. I don't work for no Romans. I don't work for no corporations. I don't work for none of that. I really work for the empire. I really live a lifestyle, you know what I'm saying? That's what separates me from a lot of my peers. And it definitely separates me from a lot of you clowns out there, you know what I'm saying? That's been out here false claiming all these years. And understand, again, Sheekamauga is Darth Vader to you clowns. Sheekamauga is commanding the Death Star on you clowns, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of y'all sitting out here false claiming as fake ass Aboriginals, fake American Indians, fake Native Americans, Pan-Africans, just all these clowns and goofy foreign designations, you know what I'm saying? Federally recognized, federally trademarked designations. Let me drive it home to you clowns, you know what I'm saying? Y'all are some straight up Hollywood, whether you're conscious or unconscious of what you're doing. A lot of y'all are actually conscious. Y'all know what y'all are doing. You know what I'm saying? Y'all are trying to hide the history, bury the history of the Moorish Empire, the American Moorish Empire. You know what I'm saying? Al-Marak, aka North America. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know y'all consciously strive, whether you're on somebody's payroll or not, or you just hating. You know what I'm saying? You ancestrally hating because you probably got your head split back. Your ancestors probably got their head split back in the day by the moles. You know what I'm saying? For getting out of line. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of y'all clowns out here turn loose by a lot of hidden hand organizations, whatever clown, goofy agencies, or whatever goofy nonsense entity that y'all work for. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have been out here false claiming for 150 years. Y'all are some Hollywood crisis actors. Again, you clowns claiming fake Aboriginal, claiming fake Indigenous, claiming fake Pan-African, claiming fake American Indian. You know what I'm saying? A lot of you goofies, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, y'all inherently know there was no such thing as no fake as far as the American history, the history of so-called America prior to the United States is an actually well-organized, well-documented history. There was an actual nation here, an administratively well-organized, well-put-together nation with administrative government, with written languages, with universities, with advanced technology. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was actual real nation here. So a lot of you fake Aboriginals and fake American Indians and Native American clowns out here running around here doing your ooga booga tribal dances and all kind of clown shit. You know what I'm saying? Talking about you was shooting some dang old arrows and you got beat upside your head by some fake so-called European colonists and all that garbage. You know what I'm saying? Y'all out here playing flutes and visiting reservations and doing these goofy tribal dances with your goofy war bonnets in y'all head. You know what I'm saying? Y'all are some straight up, y'all are some wild Bill, Buffalo Bill, garbage crisis circus actors. You know what I'm saying? And y'all always have been. And y'all, because again, you clowns have the historic America again was a well-documented nation with a well-documented government. This government had emissaries, it had ambassadors, it had capital cities, it had well-fortified cities, it had a military, it had a navy. You know what I'm saying? Like they're literally so pre-colonial, pre-United States America was the Al-Moroccan Empire, which was an actual damn nation. You know what I'm saying? Like an advanced, technologically advanced, administratively advanced nation. With a language, with a religion, you know what I'm saying? With spiritual guidance, with flags, with national flags, with everything. All I hear you fake Aboriginals and goofy American Indians running around here doing, again, y'all do y'all ooga booga tribal dances and stuff like that. Y'all claim living in wigwams, TVs, and dirt shacks. You know what I'm saying? Talking, and then you got clowns all on YouTube talking about the original Black Americans and all the original Black Indians and all type of goofball stuff. You know what I'm saying? Trying to false claim the Yamasee, trying to false claim the so-called Iroquois, trying to false claim the Lenape, trying to false claim all these tribes. You know what I'm saying? Trying to write them off as some fake Black or some fake Aboriginal tribe. Man, get out of here with that nonsense, bro. We have always been a nation here. There has always been individual states, individual confederacies, individual nations that have made up a grand body. The so-called United States got an entire demonstration from the Al-Moroccan Empire, where you had a central executive power, aka the Sultan, and his combined power structure, his combined government, and his military force. But you also had individual so-called, they call them tribes now, but they were individual confederacies or individual nation states and individual city states all over the North American continent. And they were administratively together as a consolidated government, and they were a world superpower. Goofies? When the last goofy American Indian, a Native American clown ever claimed that the historic pre-colonial nation in America was a worldwide superpower? You know what I'm saying? Way even more dominant than the so-called United States is now, or Russia or China, any of these countries. Have any of these goofy Native Americans, American Indians ever claimed any of that status? No, because because the only, and let me tell you the reason why. Because these are the same historic clowns, again, who are nobodies in old America, because the Moors ran old America. So when the American nation that preceded the colonies and preceded so-called United States was running everything, the Moors was running it. Everybody else was nobodies. You know what I'm saying? The Moors it was the Moorish government. There was the superpower, there was the boss dog superpower government in America and worldwide. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no fake Aboriginals. It wasn't no fake Native Americans. It wasn't no fake American Indian clowns. You know what I'm saying? And damn sure were no fake Pan-African clowns. You know what I'm saying? Y'all were nobodies. And y'all are hating on the Moors now and trying to hide the history of the Moorish Empire in America, because we already know that a lot of y'all ancestors got their wigs split by the Moorish military forces in America for getting out of line. You know what I'm saying? Because we used to keep each other on point. Your ass sitting there sold out to some Europeans, or you wanted to be an undisciplined clown, and you wanted to smoke and drink and do business and let infidels and people who ain't got no passes, no rights come all in your towns and your territory, and you wanted to buck and rebel against the Grand Moorish Empire that was trying to keep everything pristine and lawful. And Muslim and Yahudi in this land, mainly Muslim and pristine in this land. You know what I'm saying? You was getting your wig split back in the day. So a lot of y'all clowns sitting up here hating on the Moors, trying to act like the Moors don't exist. You know what I'm saying? Talking about the Moors was from Africa and that Moors was some foreigners. A lot of y'all clowns descend from the same ancestors that we used to come through and bury your shit down for getting out of line and selling out to foreign infidels. You know what I'm saying? We would do that to you clowns. You know what I'm saying? So when they talk about how the so-called English was in the colonies and or the Iroquois or whatever, they was up in the colonies and they was just splitting different tribes' wigs and coming through and locking everything down. That was the Moors doing that. The so-called Iroquois and all these names are misnomers for the Moorish government and the Moorish military that was running old America, especially real deep on the eastern woodlands in the Midwest, on the East Coast, and in the South. You know what I'm saying? Like they was real deep there. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of y'all literally are hating to this day. Like, you clowns are sitting up here hating to this day, because a lot of y'all descend from people who got out of line. They wanted to be European. They forgot who they were. And guess what? When you forgot in the old empire, once you sold out and you forgot who you were, you didn't want to represent them. You didn't want to be a Moor no more. You didn't want to pay your taxes. You didn't want to uphold our Moorish American, the American standards, the Almoroccan standards in this country. Or you was free game. You was finna get taxed. You was finna get smacked up. You was finna get brute. You was finna get your town invaded. You was finna get pushed around and smacked around. Or you want to be European. You don't rock your turban no more. You want to be a Muslim no more. Oh, cool. So you gonna stand over here with the rest of the damn goofies. You know what I'm saying? And you can get slapped around. That's what we used to do to you clowns. We had to do it so damn much that eventually we had to whoop so much ass all in America, all in South America, all on these oceans and all that. We imported so many POWs and slaves. Eventually it was enough of these clowns in this land that we had whooped, whose asses we had whooped, that they did a damn revolution against us. You know what I'm saying? That's how gangster the Moors were. That's why y'all clowns sit up here hating now. We wrecked shop all in this hemisphere, all in Africa. We was wrecking shop. And we was bringing hella POWs back, Christian slaves. You know what I'm saying? Don't knock on Christianity and whatever. But back then, these people, these so-called Roman Catholic Christians was running damn crusades on the Moors. You know what I'm saying? And they got their heads split for trying to get out of line. So we would bring thousands and thousands of these people back, make them do forced labor all in America. You know what I'm saying? Or if they converted to Islam, they might have got, or they wanted to join the military or whatever, they might have got some passes. That's where a lot of this stuff come from. That's why you have so many. That's why a lot of these people who were so-called Confederates, and they were lighter skinned, and all these people, a lot of these people descend from old janissaries of the Moors. You know what I'm saying? And some people they call them European renegades, because they was going against their own Christian countries, and they wanted to ride with the Moors. So guess what? So you got the story of, you always got the stories of these so-called white plantations, because again, we've already discussed how the majority of the plantations all through America and all this was owned by copper-colored Moors. You know what I'm saying? The Confederacy was led by copper-colored Moors. They were the most of the planters and the plantation owners and all that were copper-colored American Moors. Just don't get it messed up. But you would have saw some so-called European, back in those days, you would have saw some so-called European so-called plantation owners, and they might have had some dark-skinned or may have had some African POW slaves or whoever, some Christian slaves working on their plantations. Guess what? Those were the European renegades who probably converted to Islam, or they joined the Moroccan army. You know what I'm saying? They was getting paid, and we was giving them deals to go against and kill their own. You know what I'm saying? And go against these other Roman Catholic Christian crusaders that was coming against us. They might have got employed as corsairs, privateers. We would send them out on boats to raid all in the Caribbean, all in the Atlantic. You know what I'm saying? We would send them fools to war. They showed valor. Guess what? They could come home, get paid, get some land, and get some slaves. You know what I'm saying? Get some POWs. You can get you a plantation. There might have been a light-skinned European, right? Straight Caucasian-looking European, converted to Islam in America. You know what I'm saying? Converted to Islam. He joined the army. He went down into the Caribbean and raided on some Catholics. You know what I'm saying? He came back, and the Sultan and the sheiks was like, and the Sharifs was like, yeah, bro. You know what I'm saying? We finna give you some land. So then when the so-called United States people were coming through, and they was coming through the South, again, the majority of them plantations was owned by Moors, but they might have seen some so-called white plantation owners, and they might have interacted with these people, and they might have seen these white plantation owners with some so-called Negro-looking slaves. You know, these were some POWs or whoever they were. You know what I'm saying? But and that's how they're going to describe the history, because those are the people at that time that they were dealing with. They weren't dealing with the darker Moors like that. You know what I'm saying? Who was owning the majority of the South. They would interact with the more European-looking Moors. So they would see these people on in these nice cribs with all these acres. But they don't like to mention that these lighter-skinned Europeans was either had converted to Islam, or they was so-called Yahudi, or they might want to term like Jewish. You know what I'm saying? The reason why they had anything was because they were working for Morocco. They were called renegade Europeans. So when they give you the fake Kunta Kinte story with some fake white slave owners, you know what I'm saying, with some damn black slaves or whatever, they might have happened somewhere in the South, but best believe all around that, the majority of the land around that was owned by some Moorish people. You know what I'm saying? That one little European that owned that plantation, he was surrounded by other plantation owners of people of Moorish towns and stuff like that. He was just cool because he had showed and proved in the Moroccan army, the Moroccan military, and raided against some Europeans. So they were renegade Europeans. You know what I'm saying? So they weren't no Christians, Jesus, or the new European Jesus worshiping people like that. That was in the South like that. That's why the Europeans up north and the Yankees, they didn't like them so-called Southern hillbillies and all these people. A lot of these people descend from Janissaries that was fighting for the Moors. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it a buck, man. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, we done already in the video y'all watching. We was doing the drop showing a lot of footage of old Moorish neighborhoods in Midwest cities like Chicago, aka Mecca, and stuff like that. Just driving home to these fake Aboriginals that the Moors was running old America. Aboriginals, American Indians, Pan-Africans were literally nobodies. They had no rights back then. They literally have no rights now because they're federal subjects. They are nobodies. You know what I'm saying? Claiming American Indian, claiming fake Aboriginal, claiming fake Pan-African, claiming NBC status. You have no damn rights. You are a subject to the federal government. You are literally a nobody and a minority and a nobody. You know what I'm saying? A nobody, a minority, and a nobody, nigga. You know what I'm saying? You literally is a nobody, nigga. You know what I'm saying? You get no respect. And this is the Death Star. We just come bringing the Death Star to all these Hollywood crisis actors, clowns. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I did want to do this drop, I wanted to focus this drop on one man that I told you was going to come and talk about in a previous drop, because I did a previous drop about the so-called Ben Ismail tribe of Illinois, Indiana. You know what I'm saying? The Moorish tribe, the Moorish people in the late 1800s. A large Moorish population in so-called Indiana, Illinois territory, Iowa, Wisconsin, you know what I'm saying, Chicago, that area. It was a large population of these people that they labeled the Ben Ismail tribe. And I told you we were going to come back. And there was a book that was written in 1977 by a brother who was correcting all the European lies against the Ben Ismail people. And he talked about how the so-called Ben Ismail people were descended from some American Islamic saint. You know what I'm saying? But he kind of made it seem like it was some American imam or something like that. But we're gonna break down in this drop the historical man that the so-called Ben Ismail tribe. Y'all do the knowledge on the Ben Ismail tribe, or go back and watch my drop about it. But the Ben Ismail people and a lot of other Moors in America, a lot of Mississippian people in America, I want to, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna do the story on Ismail bin Sharif, Moulay Ismail bin Sharif, historic Sultan of Morocco, who lived between He lived in the 16. He was Sultan of Morocco from 1672 to 1727. You know what I'm saying? He ruled so-called Morocco for 50 years. You know what I'm saying? And he a great rule. This man had over 500 wives and concubines. He had over 800 children. And they said really he had about 1,000 children. You know what I'm saying? So what that means, and again, we're gonna drive it home to you clowns. And I want to dedicate this particular drop to this Lenny Lenape lame. And I've been watching this dude for years, and he been slick dissing Moors for years. You know what I'm saying? But this Lenny Lenape East Coast lame named Turtle Lame. You know what I'm saying? We ain't even gonna say your real name, but your name is Turtle Lame. You know what I'm saying? You've been all online for years, homeboy. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna put a lot of you clowns up there on the East Coast, which, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of y'all clowns sold out a long time ago. Goofy's like Turtle Lame. You know what I'm saying? This Lenny Lenape clown who sits up here hating on the Moors, talking about he hates on Noble Drew Ali, hate on the Moors, talking about the Moors came from Africa and all type of goofball shit. You know what I'm saying? The fool, and I know he know better. You know what I'm saying? But he don't know how to read and code. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because Noble Drew Ali said that the Moors came from Northwest Africa, you clown ass nigga, Northwest Africa is North America, a Mexican fool. You know what I'm saying? That's how goofy you are. And we're gonna destroy Turtle Lame and his cronies in this drop. You know what I'm saying? That Lenny Lenape lame. You know what I'm saying? And let me tell you something. I personally heard this clown Turtle Lame. You know what I'm saying? I have heard this fool is like 50-something years old. Stay on YouTube all day arguing with young niggas. You know what I'm saying? Just arguing, just beefing. I mean, this fool walks around and literally does nothing. And then he be trying to act like he be posting images of like his fake Lenny Lenape clowns. These people have no international recognition. You're not a nation at all. You have no recognized treaties. You're not a historic nation. You don't have no flag in history. Show me one French record. You know what I'm saying? One old Spanish record. One old Latin Dutch record. You know what I'm saying? From France to Spain or anybody who has some fake clown, Lenny Lenape clowns going overseas doing any type of business or anything in large numbers. It didn't exist because you clowns were not a nation like, you know what I'm saying? Y'all, that is Lenny Lenape, that is a reconstructed goofball term. And your goofy ass is federally recognized, first of all. So you clowns have no rights. You know what I'm saying? Y'all are literally sitting up here claiming a term that is trademarked by the federal government. So you can't do nothing. You can't even wipe your goofy ass without asking a Fed to do something. And you sitting up here hating on the Moors. But I've heard your goofy ass say out of your own mouth, homeboy, that your goofball ancestors had to sit up here. You know what I'm saying? Because there was people getting on you about your ancestors being so-called slave owners. You know what I'm saying? But you literally admitted. I heard you say it. That, and when your ancestors had their little farm or whatever in New Jersey or whatever, if they didn't buy slaves from the so-called English, they was finna get their town and all that junk burnt down. You know what I'm saying? I literally have heard you say that out of your own mouth. Now, what we're going to drive home in this drop right here, you know what I'm saying, is that the so-called historic English, the redcoats, the loyalists, the army, all of that was running that area, the so-called Iroquois and all of that. What we're going to drive home in this drop is that the so-called Iroquois, the redcoats that was beating your ancestors' ass, Turtle Lame, was the Moroccan Moorish army, fool. The redcoats was the Moors, nigga. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no damn Europeans. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you try to pass it off as. And then you so goofy. You know what I'm saying? I done heard you talk about your ancestors was living in damn wigwams and teepees and long houses and dirt mud huts and stuff like that. Nigga, all up and down, all on the East Coast. All through the East Coast, all up in New York and all of that. Man, so many old Moorish castles and buildings. So who was living in that? While you and your Lenny Lenape ancestors were sitting up there living in dirt huts and dirt shacks and wigwams and teepees. That I've heard you say out your own damn mouth. Who was living in them castles? In the Moorish castles all up in there. It's a Moorish castle, old Moorish castle in Central Park. Who was living in that? Who was occupying all them forts around there? All in Philadelphia, all around Pittsburgh, all that whole area. Who was occupying all them old Moorish star forts and all that? Who was living in all them castles up on the East Coast? It damn sure wasn't you, cause you said your clown ancestors were sitting up here living in damn wigwams and teepees, nigga. You know what I'm saying? And again, like I say, I've listened over the years, the Sheekamauga, Darth Vader has sat up here and just listened to it. You know what I'm saying? It didn't bother me for a long time, but y'all clowns, I mean, it's gotten so ridiculous, and y'all make America look so bad. You know what I'm saying? That there literally has to be a Death Star force on you clowns. Just shut you clowns up and destroy your credibility because y'all are literally goofies and nobodies, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. But again, I've heard you say Turtlegang, you Lenny Lenape clown. I have heard you say out your own damn mouth, nigga, that your ancestors would get their farm burnt down if they did not buy slaves from the so-called English. What I'm about to prove in this drop and show in this drop is that the so-called English of the East Coast and the Red Coast and all that was the Moorish Moroccans, nigga. So you just admitted that your ancestors were getting slapped around by the Moors in America, nigga. How you like? Go run and tell that. You know what I'm saying? Straight up clown, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for real, bro. I done heard you been disrespecting Moors for years, homeboy. You know what I'm saying? And ain't nobody really checked you on it. You know what I mean? Not really, ain't like you. I mean, you're just such a goofy. You're just such a goofy and an old clown. Just sitting up here online all day arguing with young niggas. You know what I'm saying? I don't never see you do anything worth of value. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just run your damn mouth and go to reservations and do ooga booga dances and shit. You know what I'm saying? All y'all do African ooga booga dances. While the Moors was running navies and fleets and ships and all that. We had artillery, we had guns, you know what I'm saying? We had castles, we had palaces and complexes and all that. You know what I'm saying? The Mississippians. But you Lenny Lenape clowns were doing ooga booga dances on reservations like goofies. You know what I'm saying? I mean, just goofies. You know what I'm saying? And then one more thing before because I could literally rag on Turtlegang and his goofies all night, and the rest of them goofies, all his goofy Indian clown bum homeboys, they'd be running their mouth and singing, playing flutes and doing ooga boogas and all that. You know what I'm saying? Just straight up clowns, man. You know what I'm saying? Undisciplined clowns with no religion. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all have no religion and no God. Y'all sitting out there worshiping corn and worshiping the sky like goofies. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all are straight up clowns. That's why the Moors had to smack your ancestors around back in the day, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Just clowns, man. And then you the same type of clown. You the same type of clown, you know what I'm saying, that sat up there and that helped to do the American Revolution and Rebellion, trying to click it with some Europeans, because y'all got tired of getting smacked around by the Moors all up and down the East Coast, because y'all couldn't cut it. You know, y'all wanted to party and dance and juke around with Europeans, smoke and drink and eat pork. And the Moors was coming to do slaying a smackdown on you clowns, you know what I'm saying? Because y'all abandoned y'all birthright. That's why we had to do all that. That's why the Iroquois had to run your ancestors and beat your ancestors down like they did, because y'all was losing y'all way. So yeah, you want to be a European, we're going to treat you like one, nigga. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what we did to you clowns, you know what I'm saying? But I've heard Turtlegang. I've heard this clown, Turtlegang, sit up there talking about the United Nations. Man, you big goofy, nigga. First of all, we know, everybody know good and well that the so-called United Nations is a bunch of federal republics, a bunch of corporate republics. It's not real, nigga. You know what I'm saying? It's not the family of nations. These are not real republics. These are all corporate nations. You know what I'm saying? It's all fiction. So you actually holding up we going to the United Nations and all that. You know what I'm saying? Bruh, no, the United Nations does not consist of real nations like that, fool. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are corporate federal republics with if it's federal, it's dealing with more so a Marxist communist corporate demonstration. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a religious spiritual republic like all the old family of nations were. But to corporate communist clowns like y'all, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that works for y'all. Because again, y'all have no God, y'all have no religion. You know what I'm saying? Y'all are federally recognized and y'all are communists, you know what I'm saying? You need to be worried about how you finna get all the money. It says, okay, if Lenny Lenape clowns are so great, you know what I'm saying? Why can't y'all control New York and get the migrants up out of there if you got so much sway? You know what I'm saying? Why you ain't helping to lock down them New York neighborhoods for your own people? You know what I'm saying? And keep all the migrants and immigrants out. Oh yeah, because y'all are nobodies. Y'all only the Moors, we used to lock it down. We had New York locked down. It was Fez. It was called. The old name for New York was Fez, nigga. You know what I'm saying? When we was running it, we had it locked down. But when you clowns sat up there and wanted to do, and no knock on the United States or American Revolution, none of that, but when clowns like y'all wanted to rebel against the Moors, you know what I'm saying? We got the clown situation we got right now. And y'all literally got ran out of all y'all neighborhoods trying to buck against the real ones, you know what I'm saying? And you literally are nobody, you can do nothing. When the last time a fake Lenny Lenape built the wall up there to keep the migrants from overrunning his own damn neighborhood? You know what I'm saying? Like, get out of here, man. You know what I'm saying? I had to get this fool, man. He been running his mouth for so long, bro. Just disrespect them for no damn reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, it'd be one thing. It'd be one thing we can all, like, you don't necessarily have to be a Moor, but we should all come together on just being a original American. We can at least come together on that. But these clowns been disrespecting the Moors for no reason for so damn long. Like, it's just time to, like, since y'all want to do the disrespect, here come the Death Star on you clowns, man. Y'all really thought y'all was going to go against Allah and be infidels? Bruh, please, man. Kill yourself. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to talk about Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif, Great Moroccan Sultan. You know what I'm saying? And again, for all you clowns, Turtle Lame included, there was no damn Morocco in no North Africa until 1956. So if you read the history of Morocco in any history books, it's talking about America, you big dumb clown. There again, let's drive it home for you clowns. There was no Morocco in no damn North Africa until 1956. Okay? So the Moroccan history, the Treaty and Treaty of Friendship, or the Treaty of Marrakesh is Philadelphia, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Where was it signed at? On the Delaware River, Philadelphia, right? The Treaty of Marrakesh. Nigga, Marrakesh is Philadelphia, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all are just, I mean, for real, y'all are straight up goofies, man. You know what I'm saying? Boy, I tell you. Like, for real, bro. All right, so we're gonna talk about Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif, man, great Moroccan Sultan. And again, a lot of y'all people, again, this man had 1,000. He was based in America. So he made the capital of, and we're gonna go through this in this drop, but he made the capital Meknes. Now that sounds like Mecca. You know what I'm saying? And what do the Moors call Chicago? Mecca. That means Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif had his capital in Chicago, nigga. Mecca. Meknes. If you read the official history, it's Meknes, but it's Mecca, Chicago. Only the Moors been telling y'all clowns that for years. And again, people like great Moors like C.M. Bey and Prince Uriel Bey already drove it home for you clowns. You know what I'm saying? Gave you the original map and everything, and what this stuff really is. You know what I mean? Check it out. Let's do the knowledge on it's Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif. You know what I'm saying? And again, if he had 1,000 kids, 1,000 children, that means a lot of Mississippians might still be related to this man. You know what I'm saying? 1,000? I mean, come on, bro. 1,000 kids. He had 1,000 children. Bro. He died in 1727. A lot of y'all probably got Moulay Ismail, especially if you're from the Midwest, all up and down the Mississippi of the South, man. Or even some on the East Coast or whatever. Some of y'all probably got this man's blood flowing through y'all veins right now if you Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? You know, keep it a buck, man. Again, his name is Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif. You know what I mean? Look him up. Do your own knowledge, but we're gonna go over some notes in this drop. You know what I mean? All right, so just talk about who his progenitors were. Now, we've already done the knowledge to Al-Mansur, but we'll just do the knowledge. So after the death of Saudi Sultan Al-Mansur, and we did a drop. We did a previous drop talking about Al-Mansur and how he defeated the Portuguese, which was Brazil, you know what I'm saying, South America. But he destroyed the Portuguese in America, you know what I'm saying, and then he invaded North Africa after that and locked it down. We talked about Al-Mansur. He was of the Saudian dynasty. Now, before I even go into this, again, Al-Mansur is a part of the Saudian dynasty, okay? This is how you spell Saudi, S-A-A-D-I. Now, it was well known that there was a star. There was an 8-pointed star. That was on the flag of the Saudian dynasty. And this is another blow to fake Turtle Lame and his goofy clowns. You know what I'm saying? Who try to say the Moors was from Africa and one from America. Now I'm gonna post in this drop. You know what I'm saying? In this drop, and I've already posted in a previous drop. But there's a historic picture of the Vine Street Temple in Nashville, Tennessee. You know what I'm saying? It's been destroyed and demolished by clown settlers, but there's the historic Vine Street Temple in Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm going to post in this drop. Has the Saudian star, the Moroccan Saudian star, Al-Mansur, the great Moroccan Sultan, part of the Saudian dynasty, has the Saudian star on the Vine Street Temple in Nashville, Tennessee. So Turtle Lane, tell me, why would a temple, a historic temple, Moorish temple, I ain't even going to say Moorish, why would a historic temple, and y'all can look it up, the Vine Street Temple of Nashville, Tennessee. Historic Nashville, Tennessee. Again, it's demolished now by them settler clowns. You know what I'm saying? But there are pictures of it. Why would the Vine Street Temple in Nashville, Tennessee have the star of the Saudian Moroccan dynasty on it? If the Moors was from Africa, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Why would the Saudi Star be in Nashville, Tennessee? Oh yeah, that's right. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, I'm telling you, you were literally these Moor-hating clowns are literally gonna have no credibility after the Death Star is done with these clowns. You know what I'm saying? And they're gonna be paying taxes like they gonna be paying these Barbary taxes like they clown ancestors had to do or get their heads split. You know what I'm saying? Real, bro. And I'm gonna, just do a little pause because their photo gonna insert up in here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah. Saudi and Star, you know what I'm saying? But anyway. Let's see. So after the death of Al-Mansur, now we know after Al-Mansur died again, in his reign in the late 1500s and early 1600s, he was successful in defeating the Portuguese, which was the Spanish Roman Catholics. He destroyed them in America. You know what I'm saying? So that South American invasion that was coming up from South America and from the Iberian Peninsula, they was trying to do their little reconquista on the Moors in America and all of that. That all got shut down by Al-Mansur in 1578. He destroyed the Portuguese. Then he ran into Africa and locked that down. You know what I'm saying? Into North Africa and locked that down. And he look up the historic Moroccan invasion of North Africa in 1591. You know what I'm saying? Look that up. We already did a drop on that, so just go back and do the knowledge. But anyway, after he was a great man, and he had Morocco kind of united, which is North America. The Al-Moroccan Empire, he had us united against these Roman Catholics. But after they were defeated, a lot of times after the big wars are over, that's when the country tends to go into like civil war because everybody is, and then a great leader dies. You have a lot of people trying to vie for the throne and all that. You always have a lot of civil wars and stuff like that. So that's exactly what happened. So in the 1600s, after he died in Al-Mansur, he died in I believe 1613 or 1608, I forget. But he said Morocco, which is again North America, it entered a period of unrest, and his sons fought each other for the throne of the country, and the country was parceled up into military leaders and religious authorities. Okay, so that means, and you can look at historic, you already know. So in the 1600s, when the so-called colonies was forming, the whole North America, we had just got through. We spent the entire 1500s pretty much battling with the Roman Catholics, and we beat their ass. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, but after that, after that great leader Al-Mansur was gone, I guess there wasn't no strong leader to keep the country united. So I guess a lot of sheiks and military war sheiks in their zones in America, they just kind of parceled up their areas, and they held their own areas down because there wasn't nobody strong enough to keep everybody on the same page, which is what happens to people. And that's what's going on with our people right now. You know what I'm saying? With the Mississippian people right now, that's why we can't get on the same page for nothing, because you're lacking that central ideology or that strong leadership that just put everybody on a common cause to roll together. You know what I'm saying? More or less. You know what I'm saying? So that's what was going on with us in the early 1600s. You know what I'm saying? So, let's see. After the wars with the conquistadors, now, interestingly enough, before we get into Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif, there was a particular tribe that just thought it was interesting. It was called the Zoala of Ilai. Okay, it was a Moroccan tribe that was more so. They said it was more so headquartered in so-called Central Morocco. Now let's do the knowledge. It says the Zoya of Ilai in Central Morocco. What else is what's in the central heartland of America right now? Illinois country, right, nigga? You know what I'm saying? So it was the Zoyan of Ilai, a Moroccan tribe that was in central Morocco at the time. You know what I'm saying? Because again, the country was kind of parceled up. It wasn't strong leadership. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So again, if you read the history of so-called Morocco, whether it's wiki or any articles that does the history of Morocco, they're really talking about the history of America, because again, they're driving it home for you clowns. There was no Morocco. There was no kingdom of no damn Morocco in North Africa until 1956. You feel me? All right, now. All right, so let's do the knowledge to. Okay, so we're just gonna talk about Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif. Now, Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif, he was born about 1645 in Sheekamauga in Morocco, and that's definitely an American city. You know, literally all these American cities had different Islamic names back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like, so again, we done already done the knowledge, and y'all really need to go read books by Prince Uriel Bey, because he lets you know literally the majority of where these places are. And we already know, and if you were to know, you already know that Fez, the historic city of Fez, is New York. You know what I'm saying? Mecca is Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Tangier more than likely Baltimore and Washington, D.C. Marrakesh is definitely Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? Just doing the knowledge, man. You know what I'm saying? Learn your own language and reorientate yourself. You feel me? And don't listen to goofies like Turtlegang and his goofies. You know what I'm saying? Get these clowns up out of here. You know what I mean? So, all right. Around 1645, he died March of 1727 in Meknes, Chicago. Okay, Meknes is Chicago. Okay, that's Mecca. You know what I'm saying? The Moors call Mecca Chicago, but in the official history, it's called Meknes. You got to read between the lines and go into your DNA and go into your blood. You know what I'm saying? And that's why a lot of these Moor-hating goofies, see, these are some European Negroes. You know what I'm saying? These are some Europeans. So they everything for these Moor-hating clowns. You know what I'm saying? Like Turtlegang and his clowns got to be verified by some Europeans. You know what I'm saying? They got to have a fake. It needs to be a scholar or somebody or some book written by some European needs to verify everything, because these clowns historically they wanted to be European. That's why they did. That's why they don't want to be Moors, because they know their ancestors rebelled against the Moors in the American Revolution, because they wanted to be European, because they some clowns and goofies. You know what I'm saying? They can't cut it. They can't cut it in the real culture. That's why they hating to this day. These people are terrified of it going back to the old culture. You know, because they know you finna get slapped the hell around by the Mississippians. You know what I'm saying? And we don't play like that. You feel me? Anyway, no. Let's see. Now, it said he was the second ruler of the so-called Alawite dynasty. He was the seventh son of Moulay Sharif, and he was the governor of Fez, governor of the province of Fez, okay? We're talking about Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif. And the province of Fez, again, is New York, okay? For you goofy clowns. When they say the province of Fez in historic Morocco, it is New York City, all right? And if you look at old pictures of New York, prior to like the 1800s, or better yet, if you look at a lot of historic photos of New York from like the mid 1800s, or any old paintings or drawings or anything like that, you're just gonna see you're gonna see hella Moorish buildings all in New York. You know what I'm saying? It looked totally different than it looks now. It wasn't all these goofy skyscrapers and all this and all these eyesores that these goofy communist industrialists build. You know what I'm saying? Just a bunch of damn eyesores. You know what I'm saying? Just monstrosities of buildings. You know what I'm saying? It looks terrible. You know what I mean? But historic so-called New York and New Amsterdam, it looked hella Moorish. If you look at old pictures or paintings, hella Moorish buildings, hella Moorish castles, hella Moorish palaces, all up in so-called New York. You know what I'm saying? So just do the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? But that's historic city of Fez, New York. So Moulay Ibn Ismail, he was the governor of New York, of Fez. Everything around it was the historic province of Fez. And also do the knowledge to the so-called Iroquois Confederacy. That is just, again, we've been driving home to you clowns. That was just the Moorish Moroccan army up in that territory of so-called North Morocco. You know what I'm saying? Or the northern half of America, the northern half of so-called North America. That's the Iroquois Confederacy, which was just the Moors. They come up with all these new names, but it was just the Moors. And then when they talk about the English and the British Redcoats, that was the Moorish army that was working for the Sultan. That was not working for no damn king, no European fucking damn George, the whatever. Even though he contributed soldiers, we were aligned with them, but the Redcoat British, so-called British army on the East Coast and all that, that was the Moorish army, fool. You know what I'm saying? Working for the Sultan. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to prove that. So, all right, so he was, okay, so Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif, he was the governor of the province of Fez and North Morocco, and the north of Morocco from 1667 until the death of Moulay Rashid, which was his brother, in 1672, okay? So, again, Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif, he descended from he descended from a royal Moroccan family that was high up in government, and they were they were like genetic ascendant, they were genetic bloodline of the throne, you know what I'm saying, of this. They were like the bloodline of the royal clan of the sovereigns, you know what I'm saying, in America. Because again, we told y'all that old America was run by nobility. Now, again, the so-called Sultan of Morocco historically was just like the president is now. He has executive power, and he has an army. He has control of like the larger army and the larger navy and everything. But the individual so-called confederacies or zones or states, or they call them tribes now, they had their own territories where they can govern themselves. The United States today is set up at least literally the same way. You know what I'm saying? But Ismail Ibn Sharif, he descended from the sons of. He descended from Al-Mansur, so he was a part of the noble clan. So he was a hereditary to inherit a high government position, a high military ranking position. It was hereditary, you know what I'm saying? Because again, we kept those bloodlines, and we would train when you would have all your children. Back in those days, if you were of high status, you would train your children at a young age to inherit that nobility and that high status and function in government or military functions. That's just how it was. You know what I'm saying? It's like mob style. Again, we already told y'all that the Moorish Mafia used to run America. It wasn't no dang Italian mafia. None of these people showed up nowhere in America, you know what I'm saying, until the Moorish Mafia was gone. You feel me? And they learned everything from how the Moorish Mafia used to operate. You know what I mean? So, it was all family oriented. You know what I'm saying? All right. So, okay. Now, it said that Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif, he was proclaimed Sultan at Fez, New York, and he ruled 55 years. He was proclaimed Sultan at Fez in 1672 when his brother Moulay Rashid died in combat, I think. But he ruled 55 years, and he amassed a harem. I said again, this man was King Solomon of his time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he was like King Solomon of his time, but he amassed a harem of 500 wives and concubines, and he had over 800 children. They said he really had about 1,000 children. You know what I'm saying? So again, a lot of y'all Mississippians might be related to this man. You know what I'm saying? So just keep it a buck, man. And again, these are the real American legends, not no fake Harriet Tubman and no fake Frederick Douglass and all this goofball communist clown shit. You know what I'm saying? And I know, in respect to these people, you know what I'm saying? If they historically existed, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But they never told you, that's why we doing real nigga history. They never told you about the real American legends. Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif, Al-Mansur, you know what I'm saying? Moulay Rashid, you know what I'm saying? Sidi Muhammad III, these are American legends, you know what I'm saying? These are the real people you're supposed to be making shrines to and really doing the knowledge and studying. Not no fake Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass goofball shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, get out of here with that nonsense, you know what I'm saying? So again, y'all can do fake black history. We gonna do real nigga history over here. You know what I'm saying? The real Mississippians is doing real nigga history. Y'all can go do some fake Pan-African black Indian history with Turtlegang and the Goofies, you know what I'm saying? So check it out. All right, now, it's also said that Moulay's reign marked the high point of Moroccan power. So what they're really telling you is, now they always tell you that in 1492 is when the Moors kind of fell, but that's you know what I'm saying, that's part of the story, but they really don't tell you that the real Moorish Empire, and I've heard other math teachers say this, but the real Moorish, after 1492, they will mask the Moorish Empire under different names, because this is when the Europeans started to get sway in the world. So when they finally was able to destroy the empire or whatever, they rewrote history with a bunch of European names, because they always wanted to make it seem like the European history is the history, and they were some big Billy badasses in the world. But in reality, these Europeans didn't really even come up to the 1800s, man. You know what I'm saying? They were literally nobodies and getting smacked around by the Moors all the way up to the 1800s. You know what I'm saying? Especially over here in America, like for real, like, you know what I'm saying? So, and even in Africa, Asia, all that. You know what I'm saying? So, let's see. Okay, so it marked the high point of Moroccan power. So, if he was the Sultan from 1672 to 1727, and it was like one of the heights of Moroccan power. That means the Moors was really boss dogging in America in the 1600s and the 1700s, all the way up until the American Revolution. So the Moors was running the East Coast, the West Coast, all of North America. We was boss dogs. You know what I'm saying? So who was the slaves? I thought the blacks was on plantations getting whooped, you know what I'm saying, slaves, but 16, but all through the 1600s to 1727 was the height of Moroccan power, and the Moroccans are the Moors. So who was the slaves? Who was getting whooped in America? You know what I'm saying? Man, get out of here, man. Okay. All right, just doing this introduction on Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif. Now, he said his military success relied on a strong army made up of, again, let's do the knowledge. Now, they talking code, but these names are very similar. So, relied on a strong army made up of the Gooks, or the Geeks, okay? And the so-called Black Guard, okay? Okay? So, again, we're going to say that again. This is why Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif was so successful. He had a large, strong army made up of the Geeches, and the Black Guard. You know what I'm saying? Now, we're going to do the knowledge on who the Geeches are. The Geeches, more than likely, are historically the Geechees. The Geechees of America. These people are probably Muslim, you know what I'm saying? More than likely the so-called Geechees, all in the, you know what I'm saying, of the coastal areas and all of that. These people are probably, mixed Mississippians and also Africans. You know what I'm saying? People that come from North Africa are some Muslims that might have come from North Africa over here and, employed themselves in the Moroccan army and the Al-Moroccan cause. You know what I'm saying? But the Geeches, who was a part of Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif's large Moroccan army, sound too similar to Geechees and Gwales. You know what I'm saying? So that's more than likely who that's talking about. Also, he said he had the Black Guard, the so-called Black Guard. Now, I'm going to tell you historically who the Black Guard are. And we also going to show a photo in this drop, later on in this drop. You know what I'm saying? It proves the fact that Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif's so-called Black Guard is the historic British Redcoats, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So, the Redcoats, again, we're going to say this again. The Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif's, his Black Guard army, are the historic British Redcoat army. So, when they talk about the so-called British Redcoats, and Americans and all of that, this is Moulay Ismail's Black Guard. And they talk about the so-called the loyalist army. That's the Black Guard, nigga. That's the Redcoats. So Turtle Lane, okay, so Turtle Lane, he had already talked about how, again, this is the Death Star to you clowns. Turtle Lane had already talked about how his ancestors got beat down and they had to buy, they were scared out of their minds over there in New Jersey, wherever the hell they was at. They were scared out of their mind and had to buy some slaves from the so-called English, or the English was gonna burn their whole farm down. Nigga, that was the Black Guard, the Redcoats, nigga. That was the Moroccan Redcoats who were loyalists to Ismail Ibn Sharif, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Ismail Ibn Sharif was a sultan of Morocco who was ruling from Chicago, and he was the old governor of Fez, New York. So yeah, the Iroquois was whooping y'all ass. Turtle Lane. You know what I'm saying? Just goofies, man. So again, now my Moors, do the knowledge. Whenever you hear them talk about the so-called British Redcoats, this is the Black Guard, the Redcoat Army, the Redcoat Confederates who are loyal to the Moroccan Sultan, okay? They were not loyal to no King George, none of that clown stuff, you know what I'm saying? The loyalists were loyal to the Sultan, not no dang old British crown, you know what I'm saying? Get out of here with the nonsense. All right, man. Now it said, this is how you know. It said that the Black Guard was so-called again, these people hate Islam and they hate Moors, so they gonna call them blacks. But it said the Black Guards were allegedly black slaves, but it said that they were totally loyal, they were totally devoted to the Sultan. So again, they speak in code. Now don't they historically call the Redcoat Army in America the loyalists, right? And they just said that the Black Guard were totally devoted to the Sultan. You know what I'm saying? So the coincidence, I think not. So anytime you hear the word loyalists, that is the so-called Black Guard or the Moorish Guard, and this is the Sultan's personal army, and that's literally what the old federal, like now they got the United States Federal Army. So the old Redcoat Army, you know what I'm saying, of a certain territory up north or whatever. The old Redcoat Army was the Moroccan Army. That was the Federal Army. You know what I'm saying? That was the old Moroccan so-called Federal Army, but it wasn't federal. You know what I'm saying? It was Moorish, you know what I'm saying? There's a difference. It's not, because federal has no God. You know what I'm saying? Moorish and spiritual, you know what I'm saying, fighting for the cause of Allah, you know what I'm saying? So that was the difference. You know what I'm saying? All right, so anyway. Now, it also said that he failed against the Regency of Algiers. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, the Regency of Algiers, this is what, historically, if you read the history of Morocco, the so-called Regency of Algiers, or Algeria, as pertaining to America, is actually French Louisiana, aka New France, okay? So Algeria, we've already done knowledge to this. Algeria is New France. So you pull up a map of New France in North America and all of that back in those days. That is Algiers, the Regency of Algiers. You know what I'm saying? That's how you break down the history. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So it said that he failed against the Regency of Algiers in 1692, and we also gonna talk about how, if you look at all of the wars that were going on in so-called Morocco during the history of Morocco in the 1600s, especially when it comes to Ismail Ibn Sharif. I want y'all to compare the history and all the conflicts in so-called Morocco during the Moroccan history to the so-called Beaver Wars that went on in the 1600s with the Iroquois Confederacy against the French, against the so-called French. And it also, in all of these wars, if you read the Moroccan history, it talks about the Sultan of Morocco going against the Regency of Algiers all through the 1500s, especially Ismail Ibn Sharif going against Algiers and the Ottoman Turks of Algiers and all of that. And then if you look at the history of the Beaver Wars, it talks about the so-called Iroquois going against the French and the Algonquins, okay? Coincidence? I think not. Literally all of the conflicts that was going on in Morocco lines up exactly with the Beaver Wars, you know what I'm saying? Do the knowledge. These people speaking codes, you know what I'm saying? Because they hate Moors, they hate Islam, they don't want no Islam in America, you know what I'm saying? Because they know they finna get smacked around with Islam, come back to America. The real Islam, not no Sharia nonsense, you know what I'm saying? So anyway. But it said that he failed against the Regency of Algiers in 1692. And then, again, if you do the knowledge, if he failed against the Regency of Algiers in 1692, I want y'all to do the knowledge to King William's War that went on in the Northeast between the Iroquois and the French and the Algonquins. So if he failed against the Regency of Algiers in 1692, that was King William's War. Okay? It's literally the same. They're talking about the same stuff. It's just written in code. You know what I mean? All right. All right, and he's also said he had some success. This is just an introduction to him. He had some success in pushing back the tribes of the Regency of Algiers, but the army was pushed back, and the army was eventually pushed back, and he engaged in the Maghrebi War against Algiers, which is New France. Okay, and he also was responsible. He expelled many Europeans from many ports, and took thousands of Christian slaves and prisoners. So again, man. And we talk about Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif. If he was an American sultan and he took thousands of Christian slaves and prisoners, okay, who was the slaves in old America? Well, I thought the blacks was on plantations getting whooped, but this American Moroccan sultan is taking thousands of Christian slaves. So who was the slaves in old America? Oh yeah, that's right. You know what I'm saying? So again, this is why they hate niggas now. Again, so Moorish men are economically blacklisted because in old America, these people couldn't look at you wrong. These people could not look at a Moorish man the wrong way without getting. I mean, literally, you would get a sword taken out on you. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't want to. They remember genetically how that was. That's why everybody is allied against the niggas, mainly the men, the Moorish men. You know what I'm saying? It just said that Ismail Ibn Sharif took thousands of Christian slaves. This is a Moorish Mississippian man. They might misnomer it as a black man. You know what I'm saying? So you had all these European Christian slaves working for a Mississippian so-called black man in the 1700s. That's why they hate niggas now. You know what I'm saying? And you got lames out here, Moor-hating lames, and they effeminate as hell. You got lames out here who hate Moors and Mississippian stock, and you know what I'm saying? Like Turtlegang and his clowns. These are some effeminate men. Because how the hell you gonna sit up here? Turtlegang is effeminate as hell. Because how he gonna sit up here hating on the Moors when the Moors were a legion of men, Mississippian men. You know what I'm saying? They were wrecking shop and boss dogs in old America. So you sitting up here hating on your own men of your own kind. That means you would rather some effeminate European communist Marxist clowns running your country. You know what I'm saying? Because and the reason why clowns like y'all don't like the Moors, because again, y'all didn't like Moorish culture back then because it was a very disciplined and upstanding and noble culture. And y'all had to be held to certain standards in that culture. know what I'm saying? It was real. But now, when these Europeans took over, that's why y'all wanted to assist the Europeans. Y'all can F off and do whatever y'all want to do. Eat pork, drink, smoke, and BS around all damn day and not do nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's why, and y'all effeminate bums. You know what I'm saying? Y'all not real men like that. Y'all can't live like cowboys. That's why y'all hate on the Moors so damn much. Because the Moors live like goddamn cowboys, warriors and soldiers. You know what I'm saying? Y'all clowns walk up and down the street running your damn mouth on YouTube all goddamn day. Doing absolutely nothing. You know what I'm saying? They're just running up and down, walking up and down the street, doing, you know what I'm saying? Doing videos every day, like looking at buildings and being a nobody. You know what I'm saying? Being a bum on the street, running your damn mouth. Is that what it's all about? Is that why you hate the Moors so much? Bro, get out of here, bro. You know what I'm saying? Okay. It also said that Ismail, he controlled a fleet of corsairs who supplied him with slaves and weapons through raids in the Mediterranean. Now, let's do the knowledge to that. It said that Ismail, he controlled a fleet of corsairs. Now, you know the corsairs are Barbary pirates. Are the Barbary pirates and the privateers and the buccaneers and everybody who he employed to do raids on these Catholic clowns. You know what I'm saying? Now, it said that Ismail controlled a fleet of corsairs who supplied him with slaves and weapons and through raids in the Mediterranean. Now, I want you to do the knowledge. When they say the Mediterranean, I'm going to tell you what they're really talking about. They're talking about the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean. You know what I'm saying? And the Atlantic and all of that. These are just cold words. And probably more likely the Great Lakes as well. Now, I want y'all to do the knowledge, and we're gonna know at some point I'm gonna do the knowledge to like the history of Hispaniola and the history of so-called Jamaica, Sheekamauga, you know what I'm saying, and how the Moors was deep in those turfs, you know what I'm saying. But the so-called pirates of the Caribbean, those were the Barbary Moorish privateers, those were the Barbary Moorish pirates that was down in the Caribbean wrecking shop on them Catholics, on them Spanish clowns, you know what I'm saying, coming up from South America with that nonsense, and over there in Iberia with that nonsense. We had fleets and fleets of Barbary pirates all in the Caribbean raiding Spanish ships, tearing them Christians up down there. They was trying to buck all in the Caribbean. We was tearing them up. And it just said that Ismail had a fleet of corsairs all down there. So when they talk about them British pirates, the red coat British pirates and them Captain Morgan type of pirates and all, those were privateers, buccaneers working for the Sultan up here in America. You know what I'm saying? So when we did the invasions of like Jamaica in 1655 and all that, and we ran into Hispaniola and kicked the Spanish out and all that stuff, and installed the French and the French took over and all that. They were all working for the Moroccan. You know, they were all working for the Moroccans. We was employing them, sending them down there to raid them Catholics and tear their ass up down there. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was real in the field. You know what I'm saying? So the pirates of the Caribbean are the Barbary. Remember, the pirates of the Caribbean are the Barbary pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, we had hella pirates down there. We was take your shit in a minute. You know what I'm saying? All in them islands, we was tearing their ass up all day. You know, so that was the Moroccan. And you know, a lot of them pirates are known for wearing red, right? You know what I'm saying? Looking like red coats and stuff like that. And you had the so-called French ones or whatever. Those, you know, they were working for the Algiers, New France, and all that. But you know, we were more or less together against the Roman Catholic clowns. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? But you know, but just know that the Barbary pirates of the Caribbean, they was working for the Sultan. You know what I'm saying? Don't get it messed up. So they'll say the English went down there and did their thing. No, the Moroccans went down there and did their thing. You know what I'm saying? All right. And he was known for establishing diplomatic relations with France, Great Britain, Spain. They nicknamed him the Bloody King. The Europeans nicknamed Ismail the Bloody King for his cruelty and summary justice on Christian slaves. Okay, but interestingly enough, okay, the Europeans called him the Bloody King, but interestingly enough, in Morocco he was known as the Warrior King. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So check this out. This is how you know this is American history, because what are the so-called, what is the history? What are the Indian, when you read about the Indian Wars and all of that stuff, you'll have when they talk about the Europeans. They'll always call them the militias or the armies or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But when you read about the so-called Native Americans and how their little militias and all that, they always call them the warriors, right? But then they called the Sultan Ismail Ibn Sharif the Warrior King. So that's how you know it's American history. And the so-called American Indians are the Moors and the Turks. There's no such thing as no fake ass American Indian. Y'all claim an American Indian, but it's really the Moors and the Turks. It just said they call him the warrior king. Don't the Indians call themselves warriors, nigga? You know what I'm saying? Get out of here, nigga. You know what I'm saying? All right. And it also said that he was held on them Christian slaves. So we didn't play with these people because, you know, they'll call them barbaric and savage, but you gotta understand. We was fighting the holy war we was fighting the crusades against these people. Now these clowns, these Roman Catholic clowns, they will sit up there giving our people hell in South. The people that didn't get out of South America and the Moors that didn't get out of South America, they didn't get out of the Caribbean. They didn't get, you know what I'm saying? They didn't get out in time when the Reconquista was coming up in like the 1500s and all that. But they was messing our people up down there. You know what I'm saying? They had them working as slaves. They was killing babies, eating people, and all type of crazy stuff. So yeah. So you know what I'm saying? And we knew all of that. So when we was counterattacking these clowns, these Christian clowns, these Catholic Christian clowns, yeah, we was tearing that, yeah, we would bring them up here, and we would tear, you know, we was cruel to them because look what they was doing to our people down in South America, over there in Europe and all of that stuff. It was a holy war. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they gonna call him a bloody king, but the Catholics were doing just as much insane, degenerate stuff to our people they caught behind enemy lines. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you can't really judge in these situations. You feel me? All right, so. Now, it also said that he made his capital at Meknes. Again, we already said that Meknes is Mecca, Chicago. So, Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif, his headquarters his capital was in Chicago. And it's no coincidence that the Ben Ishmael tribe was in Illinois and Indiana, right around the area of Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Man, for real, bro. Y'all are gonna be done, man. Y'all, man, all you infidels and clowns hating on the Moors, y'all are literally, man, for real, man. They gonna be, y'all gonna have some dust caps. Y'all are gonna be walking around with dust caps, and y'all gonna be in them little wooden cages walking around the street and getting laughed at. You know what I'm saying? With your head and your arms in them wooden. What I don't know what they used to call them things in Europe, where they will make your goofy ass walk around with that wooden cap on you, with that wooden piece of shackle on your damn head and your arms. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what you Moor-hating clowns gonna be doing. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all are gonna get humiliated out here. You know what I'm saying? But he made his capital at Meknes, Chicago. Now he was known for in Chicago. He built an enormous citadel, an enormous palace complex during his reign. And after his death, his supporters became so powerful that they controlled the majority of the country, and they enthroned and dethroned sultans at will. You know what I'm saying? Which was probably why the American Revolution was even able to happen, because he had so much infighting. You know what I'm saying? So he was kind of one. Ismail Ibn Sharif was probably one of the last real sultans. That's probably why he's so revered. He's a real American legend. He was probably one of the last ones to really hold the empire together on a strong footing, and it kind of went to hell after that. And then you had all these revolts and rebellions, and now we got the United States. You know what I'm saying? So, but in Chicago, he was known for, you know, in Meknes, his capital, he built gardens, mosques, gates. I mean, he really beefed up his capital, which is Chicago. And all, again, we're gonna read more about that going forward, but you can tell how Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif built Chicago up, because if again, and you know, they had all them fires, the Great Chicago Fire and all of that, you know, the European settler clowns will sit up there trying to destroy this magnificent Moorish holy city. But if you look at the Columbian Exposition of 1893 of Chicago, you literally can still see a lot of these palaces and buildings that got built in Chicago, probably more than likely by Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif. So the way how great Chicago looked in that exposition before them European settler colonist clowns, communist Marxist clowns burnt it down, looked in 1893, more than likely it was built up by Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif. That's why this man is so revered. And that's why you had the Ben Ishmael tribe up there. You know what I'm saying? So, let's see. Now, also, it said that Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif, his father was Moulay Sharif, who was a high-ranking man in the Moroccan government, and they say his mother is a black slave. Okay, but they just don't want, they don't want to admit that Moulay Ismail, they always want to act like these Moroccans or these mixed breed Arabs that they got over there, right? Then they got over there fake kingdom of Morocco right now, but all of the Moroccan sultans historic Moroccan sultans were full-blooded Mississippians looking like yours truly, you know what I'm saying? Various complexions, but they were niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like full-blooded niggas. You know what I'm saying? And it just said it. His father was Moulay Sharif, and his mother was a black slave. So they don't want you to, again, they're going to call his mother a black slave, but they're just trying to say that he's a full-blooded nigga. You know what I'm saying? Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif, you know what I'm saying? Who had thousands of Christian slaves. So a nigga, for all you nigga-hating, want-to-be slave clowns, you know what I'm saying? And you hating Europeans talking about we was the Mississippians was some damn slaves. You had a nigga sultan in America that had thousands of Christian, not advocating slavery, but y'all clowns gonna quit misnomering the Mississippian people as some damn slaves, you know what I'm saying? You had a nigga sultan, Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif, who had thousands of Christian slaves, nigga. Run tell that. So who was the damn slaves? Kill yourself, nigga, you know what I'm saying? All right, we already talked about that Saudi thing. All right, so all right, now we're just gonna get into the story of Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif. His brother Moulay, and this is in the 1600s. Again, due to knowledge to the Beaver Wars. Okay, the Beaver Wars that took place all through the 1600s, up in the northern part, in the northeast and the Midwest. It lines totally up with the reign of all of the sultans in the 1600s and all the internal civil wars that was going on in so-called Morocco, if you read the official history of Morocco. So the official history of Morocco and the Beaver Wars of America line up totally, and they explain the entire history. That's why you know Morocco's in America, you know what I'm saying? So, okay, Ismail Ibn Sharif's brother, Moulay Rashid, he was the sultan. He preceded Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif as sultan. So his name was Moulay Rashid. And he entrusted Ismail Ibn Sharif with military control over North Morocco, okay? So that means, again, we done already told y'all that that's the Iroquois Confederacy, right? North Morocco, that's the Northeast and the Midwest. That's historically what the so-called Iroquois Confederacy was, right? So they just said that Moulay Rashid entrusted his brother with control over North Morocco. That's historically where the British Redcoats, the Iroquois Confederacy, and all that stuff was at, right? So again, it lines up perfectly, you know what I'm saying? So he said he entrusted him with military control over North Morocco while he fought in South Morocco. And we also said that the Beaver War, the Beaver Wars was exactly what was going on. The so-called Beaver Wars, again, it wasn't no bear. It wasn't. They're gonna say it was over beaver fur trade, which partially probably was, but these were really the civil wars in North America where they were trying to bring everybody back under control of a central government. So you know what I'm saying? So all the nonsense will be going on, because when you don't have that central control of just everybody on the same page, you probably had a lot of individual confederacies and tribes letting a lot of infidels and people have access to shit they ain't supposed to have access to if we're not on the same page. So you might have had a Confederate zone that was letting in too many Roman Catholic Europeans, you know what I'm saying, creep in the back door and have some type of sway. So you would have had these sultans at this time doing these wars to check all these people. Like, nah, nigga, get these clowns up out of here. Get these Europeans out of here if they ain't paying no taxes. You know what I'm saying? He was putting everybody in check in the 1600s. That's actually what was going on. You know what I'm saying? So, let's see. So the Beaver Wars, so essentially, the Beaver War, if you look at the history of the Beaver Wars, there was essentially the sultans trying to reassert the Muslim laws and the Muslim laws and authority all through North America, making sure that we keep these Europeans in check. Because again, you had too many Moors that was getting off their square in different zones or whatever. Specifically, probably in the Regency of Algiers or New France or whatever, because the original French that was coming over were the Huguenots, who was our people. You know what I'm saying? They was aligned with us, but you had these fake French Jesuits creeping up in behind these people, probably getting access and creeping in. So that probably caused the issue with the grand government. A lot of these sultans was like trying to check all of these people, trying to check some of these individual Confederate tribes or whatever, confederacies and tribes, all in New France and in the Midwest and all that, trying to make sure that they was keeping these Europeans in check and keeping these Jesuits up out the paint. You know what I'm saying? Because we ain't with all that Catholic shit over here. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so you had the Jesuits trying to sneak in through New France and all that, you know what I'm saying? Because they had already got their tail, they had already got towed up, trying to fight us straight up in the 1500s. So you could tell that they were trying to sneak in through they call them the dirty French. They were trying to sneak in through French Louisiana, the Roman Catholic Jesuit clowns. You know what I'm saying? They were trying to sneak in. And the Iroquois, and the so-called Iroquois of Morocco, the Sharifs, Moulay Sharif, Moulay Rashid, and Moulay, these people was not having all that. You know what I'm saying? So they was busting heads and just trying to keep everybody in check. So, Moulay Rashid, it said Moulay Rashid reigned as Sultan of Talafat and Sultan of Morocco. This is his brother. After conquest, let me see. After the conquest of Fez in 1664. Okay, now I'm gonna read that again. It's very important. So it said this is Moulay Rashid. This is the Sultan that preceded Ben Sharif. Okay, Moulay Rashid reigned as Sultan of Talafat and Sultan of Morocco after the conquest of Fez in 1664. Now this is how you know this is American, because another thing that happened in 1664 was the so-called English took over New Amsterdam. You know what I'm saying? So y'all can look it up, do the knowledge. The so-called English took control of New Amsterdam from the so-called Dutch. The New Amsterdam is New York City. And I already told, if you read Prince Uriel's Bay, he already told us that Fez is New York City. So why would it say in the history of Morocco that Moulay Rashid conquered Fez in 1664, and it's historically known that the English took over New Amsterdam from the Dutch in 1664, which is New York? Coincidence? I think not. So Turtle Lane, nigga, that's another bitch slap the Turtle Lane. You know what I'm saying? Pay them taxes, nigga. You in New York? That's Fez, nigga. Ran by the Moors, fool. Keep running your damn mouth about the Moors, nigga. You get slapped up and pay these taxes, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Again, the Mississippians is not playing with the mighty Mississippian Nations is not paying with you infidel clowns no more. You know what I'm saying? This is the Death Star to you lames. Y'all are done. Because once we get you clowns about to paint, you know what I'm saying? We can go on a march. We can go on a march back to the goddamn Capitol on you clowns. You know what I'm saying? We take it again. The nobles, the Al-Moroccan Empire is coming back. The Empire strikes back, and the villain's gonna win this time. You know what I'm saying? Darth Vader winning this time. You know what I'm saying? Y'all's little good guy, Hollywood good guy ain't gonna win this time. Best believe that, partner. You know what I'm saying? But anyway. All right. So Fez is New York. Let's see. Again, Turtle Lane, man. Just kill yourself, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Just kill yourself. Okay, Moulay. Okay. He took so Moulay Rashid took Fez in 1664, which is New York. The English took New Amsterdam from the Dutch. Again, everything is coded in European. So when you read the history of the colonies and you talk about the Dutch, the English, and all that, these are code words for different Moroccan states, different Al-Moroccan tribes or whatever. Yeah, the European nobles, they were with us. You know what I'm saying? We had European military people in our armies and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? But the authority over here was the Moroccans, nigga. The Christians didn't get no power like that in America until 1776. Let's just keep it a buck, man. So anything prior to that is all Muslim. You know what I'm saying? In America, keep it a buck, man. You know what I'm saying? All right, man, it's a lot, man. So Moulay Rashid, after he took Fez, he made Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif the viceroy, the Khalifa or the viceroy of Fez. So again, Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif was running New York in 1667. Okay, so Turtle Lane, you sit up there in New York, but you had a Moorish governor of so-called New York or Fez in 1667. So if your ancestors was up there, they was getting slapped around by the Moors like they deserve for being goofies like you. You know what I'm saying? Goofy. All right. Moulay Rashid broke in. It said Moulay Rashid broke into Marrakesh, which is Philadelphia, in 1669. And again, you can do the history of Philadelphia. It was a whole bunch of battles. If you do the history of Philadelphia, the same thing was going on. You know what I'm saying? The Dutch was getting ran out of that area. The so-called Dutch was getting ran out of that area by the so-called English in 1669 all the way to 1681. You know what I'm saying? So it lines up perfectly, bro. You know what I'm saying? It broke into Marrakesh, and the English, yeah, they were taking over. They basically the so-called English were taking over New Netherlands, but it was really the Morocco. It was really a strong sultans of Morocco reconsolidating power up in the northern part of Morocco, which is the northeast and the Midwest. You know what I'm saying? Not the southern half, but they had their own thing going on. But the northern part of Morocco, they were consolidating. You know what I'm saying? In the 1600s. So But it said Rashid, he died in Marrakesh, which is Philly. He died in Marrakesh in 1672. And it said he continued before he died, he was continuing campaigns against the High Atlas tribes, the High Atlas Mountains, which is the Appalachians. You know what I'm saying? And really, he's talking about because the Iroquois were doing battle against the Susquehannocks, which is like in the area of Maryland and all the area, the Susquehannock tribes or whatever. But these were just Moorish confederacies, the Susquehannocks. You know what I'm saying? So that's what was going on back then. So with the Iroquois, if you do the history of the Beaver Wars, it says that the Iroquois conquered the Susquehannocks, which is the area of like Maryland, North Virginia. They were running that area. You know what I'm saying? So it all lines up. You know what I mean? Now when it said when Moulay Rashid died, okay, Moulay Ismail rushed to Fez, which is New York, and he took control of the treasury, and he declared himself Sultan in 1672 at age 26. So he was a young man, relatively young man. He the Sultan of Morocco in 1776 in New York, okay? And he said that a lot of nobles, intellectuals, and sharifs swore loyalty. So, yes, and they recognized him as the new sovereign, okay? In New York in 1672 in Fez, aka New York. So now, again, they said they recognized him as the new sovereign. Now that's one of the reasons why when the United States government was formed, these Europeans, it was coming up, they said y'all can't have no titles of nobility. You know what I'm saying? Because in the old world, in old America, the nobles was running everything through blood, through divine rights and hereditary rule and all of that. Keeping in certain bloodlines and all that with like hereditary rulers and you know what I'm saying, but you can show and prove your way to the top and all of that. But these Europeans knew better than they knew. They remember how it was and how you was getting smacked around by the nobles in old America. So they said the United States and the Constitution, you can't have no titles of nobility. That's very interesting because they just recognized Ben Sharif as the new sovereign in 1672. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, titles of okay. It said that also tribes and cities of the Kingdom of Fez also recognized him as a sultan. So evidently there was New York, so-called New York was the basis of a whole province around there, and they all recognized Ben Sharif as the sultan. And again, this is old Iroquois territory. So again, we already know what time it is. You know what I'm saying? Like the Iroquois is it's just North Morocco. They just came up with these new crazy names to throw you off, you know what I'm saying? So, but it said Ismail, he took his capital to Meknes because of the water supply and the climate, okay? Now, so he was crowned sultan in New York, aka Fez, but he took his capital to Meknes, which is Mecca, which is Chicago. And you can tell because it said the water supply, because Chicago is right on the Great Lakes. It's right on the Great Lakes. And really good. It's surrounded by a large supply of water. The Chicago, the Illinois River, all that stuff runs through there. So the water is nice and fresh and clean. You know what I'm saying? There's abundant resources there, so y'all can see why he would have done that. You know what I'm saying? And it said that when he first started, so Ismail Ibn Sharif is running things from Chicago. So again, you clowns over here running your mouth on the Upper East Coast, y'all was getting ran by a sultan in Chicago, and all the rest of y'all clowns, y'all gonna have to bow down to the Mississippian Nations at some point. And Chicago is Mecca. You know what I'm saying? The great Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif was running this country from Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Kill yourself, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Now, it said that Ismail had to suppress many rebellions and challenges to his authority when he first took the throne after 1672. He decided to, it said that he decided to put all Christians, like he decided to go on a campaign to check all the Christians in the country. And essentially what was going on was, and we, like I said, you can do the history of the Iroquois wars against the so-called French, you know what I'm saying, and the Beaver Wars and all of that. Essentially what was going on was what Ismail was trying to do was there was a lot of Jesuits that were sneaking in through New France behind the Huguenots, and they were the dirty French, you know what I'm saying, bringing that Roman Catholic crap. Because again, they tried to fight us straight up in the 1500s, but then they tried to sneak through the back door in the 1600s through New France. But the Moors was not playing that. So they raised a whole bunch of campaigns against. That's why the Iroquois went on so many campaigns against France, which is the Regency of Algiers in the late 1600s, because they were trying to get them Europeans up out the paint and put them in check, make them pay. They couldn't be out of bounds. They couldn't bring that culture to Islamic America. We just wasn't with all that. So, all right. So, all right. Now it said it. Let me see. Let's see. All right. Now it said that he did a siege. He did a siege on Tangiers, DC. He did a siege on Tangiers shortly after he took the throne. It did say that in a raid. This is how gangster. Now he did a lot of military campaigns and he was very successful. This was a big civil war, but he did a lot of military campaigns. It said that he did a raid on a Spanish-French city of La Mora, and that's definitely an American city. He did a raid on the Spanish-French city of La Mora. He took 309 Spanish-French Catholic prisoners and forced them to work as slaves in Meknes. So he was taking Christian slaves to Chicago and making them work. You know what I'm saying? This how it was in old America. You know what I'm saying? You notice how a lot of these Europeans is always like, you blacks. Yeah, look at Chicago. They hate Chicago. They got something against Chicago. But it just said, when Ismail was reigning, he was taking all them Christian slaves to Chicago. So that's why they hate Chicago to this day. And every time they want to decriminalize the so-called Mississippians of the blacks, it's like, well, look at Chicago and the murder rate in Chicago. You blacks are so violent. Look at Chicago. Go fix Chicago. You know what I'm saying? There's a reason for that. You feel me? Because they hate Chicago. You know what I'm saying? And they hate Chicago because they was getting slapped around and made to work as forced labor in Chicago back in those days. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, he forced them to work as slaves in Mecca, Chicago, including girls and women. Okay. Yeah, so he did a raid. He said that the Moors had thousands of Christian Okay, I'm just doing knowledge myself. Back in these days in the 1600s, okay, during all these raids and all these wars that we were fighting against these people in America and abroad, we had thousands, if not millions, of Christian slaves in America. Okay. Now some of these people converted to Islam. Okay, and they would fight in our armies, and you know what I'm saying, they would fight in our armies. They would, you know what I'm saying, they would. So if you converted to Islam, you would kind of get taken in a little bit. You would get a lot. You could convert from Christianity to Islam. You would, you could get some rights, get taken in, join the army, do whatever you got to do. So that's why later on, 100 years later, you would have all these Zouaves and people in these Confederates and these European-looking Confederates and stuff like that. These people descend from people back in these days that might have been POWs. Their ancestors might have been POWs or anything. They might have got taken prisoners, but some of them might have converted to Islam, and they might have, you know what I'm saying? So they were able to show themselves again and get land and get slaves and if they would go out on and be privateers for the Sultan or the Moroccans, they could capture booty, they could capture gold, capture money. They could keep what they had and come back and be rich as hell. You know what I'm saying? Start their own little towns or whatever. So that's why there was so many by the time the American Revolution in the 1800s rolled around. Through all of these wars with these Christians and us taking so many captives and prisoners, you had so many Europeans that was in the interior of this country. You know what I'm saying? That's why it looks like it is. That just goes to show how gangster the Moroccans were. We took thousands, if not millions of slaves and POWs from all these wars. All through the 1500s, all through the 1600s. That's why all these people was all here. A lot of them, you know what I'm saying? They were slaves. They got captured, running, trying to go, you know what I'm saying, for whatever reason. So, just so you know. So, and then, basically what was going on in with all the Indian wars and the invasions and the civil wars in the 1800s was the so-called United States was going around. Because again, when they were formed, they were supposed to give these, because in the old world, In the old America, if the Christians did not convert to Islam or any of that stuff, they were worked and dogged out in old America. It just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because the Moors was running it and the European nobles was running it. So, you know what I'm saying? So, what the United States was doing when they were going coast to coast was they were freeing a lot of these people. You know what I'm saying? They were like, when they would go east, you know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of the Europeans kind of capitulated that was already in the interior of the country that was under the Moors. A lot of them might have capitulated like, damn, okay, yeah, I don't got to be a Moor no more. You know what I'm saying? I could be. But interestingly enough, that's why after the Civil War they had to do all this missionary work, and you'd be surprised they did a lot of missionary work, even though they did the majority of the missionary work where they was putting this Christianity forced on the Moors of the South and all of that. A lot of most of it was based on forcing the Moors to convert or whatever, but a lot of it, you'd be surprised, a lot of it was trying to force these Europeans that was in the interior of the country that was under the Moors, these lighter skinned people, to convert as well. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the rednecks and hillbillies and all these, you'd be surprised. A lot of these people's ancestors might have practiced Islam. You know what I'm saying? You'd be very surprised. You know what I'm saying? So it's real deep. It's deeper than you think. You know what I'm saying? All right, now. It said that Ismail, we just doing the knowledge to Ismail and how great he was, how, you know, just his conquest and, you know, how gangster he was, a real American legend, you know what I'm saying? It said Ismail led an army of 30 to 50,000 men to seize the Spanish city of La Roche, which is an American city. It may be Baltimore, it could be any of these places, you know what I'm saying? It could be a St. Augustine, Florida. It could be any of them places, you know, you never know. But it said the Moroccans took the city in 1689, okay, and they lost 10,000. Even though they lost 10,000, they took 1,600 Spanish captives and an entire Spanish garrison into captivity in that raid, okay. It said that the Spanish Catholic prisoners, they were taken as slaves to Meknes, Chicago. Okay, so they just bringing thousands of Christian slaves up to Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Real deep stuff. It said that by 1692 and 1693, Moulay had pretty much reconquered Morocco. And if you look at a map and look at all the look at all of the territory, because Morocco proper was mainly, again, we already talked about how the Midwest, the Illinois and all of it is the historic plains of Morocco. Ohio, all the way to New York and all of that is the historic Morocco, northern Morocco proper. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it was. So it just said that by 1692, 1693, Moulay had reconquered Morocco. And if you look at the map of the Beaver Wars and all the territory that Iroquois took from the mid 1600s all the way like to the early 1700s, it literally, it's like from damn New York all the way to Illinois. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they had the whole northern half of the country locked down. And that's really what that was all Moulay Rashid and Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif. That was what they did. They had to go all the way into the interior of the Midwest, locking it down and putting all these people in check, getting these Europeans and putting these Europeans and these French and all these people in check. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You know what I mean? So, okay. It said that his army, this is why he was so gangster. His army was, okay, so again, I don't know how they was going to enslave the Moroccans or the Mississippians. This is how Ishmael's army, this is the weapons they had, okay? Okay, the Mississippians, the Moorish army had mortars, they had ballistics, they had ballistas, cannons, and all types of siege weapons. I'm gonna say that again. They had mortars, they had ballistae, they had cannons, and they had all types of siege weapons. Okay, so again, the Moorish Army of America has always had guns. It has always had advanced military weaponry. How the hell are you going to enslave some Mississippians when we got mortars, cannons, siege weapons, and all of that? You know what I'm saying? How you going to do it? I mean, you might could enslave Turtlegang. You know what I'm saying? Turtlegang, he just living in a wigwam in a teepee and taking orders from the English, aka the Moors. You know what I'm saying? He getting slapped the hell around in the 1600s. Turtlegang is, but the Moors got cannons, artillery, siege weapons, rifles. We got it all. We got gunboats. We got it all. You know what I'm saying? And that's the nigga army of America. You know what I'm saying? All right. And it also said that in one battle, Ismail captured 10,000 horses and 30,000 guns from the Berbers, you know what I'm saying, which is the Barbary Moors, all, you know, probably Southern Barbary Moors or whatever. So these are not no Rudy Poos. These are huge armies. So the United States Army, the Union Army, the Confederate Army, all of that. This is literally just inherited from the old Moroccan army. That army was big and it was deep and it had all these advanced weapons. You know what I'm saying? Back in those days. So you ain't enslaving ain't no Mississippians mass enslaved on no damn plantation when we walk around here with mortars, cannons, and rifles and gunboats and stuff like that. It just ain't happening, partner. keep that slave shit to kick that slave shit to the curb. You know what I'm saying? Go kick rocks with that bullshit. All right, now, let's see. Again, this is the old American army. Now, let's just talk about how Ismail Ibn Sharif's Moroccan army was set up. It said that he had 100,000, 150,000 black guard soldiers. Okay, so that's the black guard. So again, this is why they hate niggas now. He had the black guard. That's the historic loyalist red coat army that was all up and down America. You know what I'm saying? That's the old army. That's the Sultan's old army. There was not no British Crown George III's army. The red coats was the black guard. It just said he had 100,000, 150,000 black soldiers and thousands of geechs, which is the geechies. You know what I'm saying? And it also said that he had European renegades. And a lot of European renegades, again, we know about them. These are the European nobles, families that came over here that was they was against the Catholics too. You know what I'm saying? They was against the Roman Catholics. So they was coming over here, you know, joining up in our cause. You know what I'm saying? But he said the Moroccan army had a gang of European renegades. And this is the thing, okay? It said that these European renegades that was in the army, if they supplied soldiers, they received land and slaves in Morocco, aka America. I would say that again. The European renegades, if they provided soldiers or joined the army, they received land and slaves. Okay? So again, that's gonna rewrite the hit. That's gonna give you the real history on why you would go down south or go into any of these places in America back in those days, and you will see some light-skinned European plantation owners with some slaves, black or white, black or whatever complexion they were. Because these were European renegades. They were not no new school Christians. So if you saw a so-called light-skinned European-looking plantation owner, historically he was not no Christian. You know what I'm saying? So get that up out of here. Get that up out the paint. You know what I'm saying? Okay, European renegades. Okay, so these are European renegades. So that's why them Yankee type of Europeans, they do not like them Southern hillbilly folks. A lot of them hillbilly Southern Europeans that's been around. These Europeans that's been around the Moors and the niggas for so long. These most likely are the renegade Europeans. They was not with. They was you know what I'm saying. So you see a crazy dark mixed looking hillbilly waving a Confederate flag or something. He's more than likely descended from the Janissaries. People who might have been a descendant of a European POW that converted over, or he's a renegade European. He descended from a renegade European family. These people were not historically Christians like that. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, also just wanted to do the knowledge. So when you're doing the history of Morocco, there was two divisions of the Moroccan society, two types of people. Okay, and it's kind of like now you got the Yankee North and the Confederate South. But you had two, and I've heard other Moorish teachers like Alcira Ducatiers and these people mention this, but there were two contingents in Morocco, and you can tell that's federal and that's state, okay. But you had Bled El Makins. Oh, let me see. You see, okay. You had Bled El Maknis, okay. Bled El Mekis. I want you to remember that. Bled El Mekis. This is the contingent of Morocco, the population of Morocco that was like directly loyal and submitted to the Sultan's authority directly. You know what I'm saying? But then you also had Bled Es Seba. Okay? Bled Es Seba is any tribes or nations or confederacies that didn't directly submit to the Sultan's authority. Okay? But at the same time, everybody recognized the Sultan as like the spiritual leader, spiritual sovereign. You know what I'm saying? So he was like the president, but everybody didn't. So any of the tribes, so-called tribes it was like Bled El Seba. They were the ones that like, nah, we ain't, you can't tell us what to do all the way, but we recognize you as the sovereign of Morocco, but you still can't govern us all the way completely. You know what I'm saying? So Bled El Seba and Bled El Mackenzie. And that's Confederacy, that's the Confederate South and the Union. You know what I'm saying? That's literally the same dynamic. You know what I'm saying? Or federal and state. It's the same dynamic. So that dynamic has always been in America. So Bled El Mackenzie and Bled El Seba. Just remember that. So me personally, I'll probably be Bled El Seba. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a Confederate. You know what I'm saying? I'm more on a Confederate demonstration where I believe in like states, you know what I'm saying, having your own territorial rights. But at the same time, I recognize that we need to move as a unit. And if there was a strong sultan, a spiritual leader or something, I would recognize, just like the United States have their own states, but they recognize the president. You know what I'm saying? It's the same setup. You feel me? All right, now. Now, just doing an honest to Ishmael, man. And like I said, I hate for this stuff to go this long, but it just flows, okay? Now, I did say, even though he reconquered Morocco and pretty much unified Morocco, aka America. And again, you can look at the Iroquois territory and tell that that's exactly what happened. It said that he lost some battles with the Regency of Algiers in late 1600s, and he said that the French did a continued offensive against Algiers did a continued offensive against him all through the late 1600s. And again, all that was again, I want y'all to do the knowledge to King William's War. And that's exactly what this is. It said that he lost some battles against the Regency of Algiers in the late 1600s after 1692, and that's King William's War up in New York and in Canada in that area. That's exactly what that was. And again, the historic Regency of Algiers, or Regency d'Algiers, is New France. it's French Louisiana. That's exactly what it is. You know what I'm saying? And New Orleans is probably the historic city of Algiers, but Algeria is from Louisiana. Washington is all the way from Louisiana, all the way up to damn near to Michigan. You know what I'm saying? All of that, all up into Canada. That's the Regency of Algiers historically. You know what I'm saying? All right, now. All right. Okay, now it says by 1693. Okay, by 1693, Ismail Ibn Sharif had asserted his central authority in most of Morocco. Okay, so again, anytime we're talking about wherever the Iroquois and the British were and their influence and all of that, that's Moroccan influence. That's like Morocco proper. Those are the Sultan's influence. And New France again is just the Ottoman Algiers. That's all it is. It's still Morocco. It's still the Al-Moroccan Empire, but it's just two different little states of governments that was existing existing side by side. You know what I'm saying? Now they were together as far as against. Again, you would have seen the Algeria. You would have seen New France click up with so-called Britain, or Morocco click up with Algiers against some Roman Catholic clowns. You know what I'm saying? All in South America, but they would still fight up here. You know what I'm saying? We would still have our little disagreements and beefs up in America and stuff like that. So, let's see. Okay, now this is what Ismail did after he kind of consolidated after about 20 years of war from 1672 to 1693. He organized defense of captured region with many forts he built throughout the country. So when you see a lot of these old Moorish star forts and forts that a lot of Europeans took over and all that stuff, a lot of these old forts, old stone forts and all that stuff that you see, a lot of them are torn up, but a lot of them were probably built around this time. You know what I'm saying? They've always been a lot of forts here, but evidently in this time period, a lot of the Sultan built a lot of forts because there was a lot of warfare going on in the country. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of the cities had to be well fortified and protected. So you might have had the fort, Fort Pitt, or all these old Moorish star forts all over the country. A lot of them might have gotten built during Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif's reign, the newer ones. You know what I'm saying? So, it said the Sultan left. Okay, So he built a lot of he organized a lot of defense. So this is like the federal government organizing a lot of building his forts in different territories just to make sure that he can keep control and authority over a lot of the individual states. So it ain't no different from in Georgia. You would have had the Fort Benning, which is Fort Moore now, but you would have had a federal fort in Georgia. But Georgia has its own little National Guard posts and all that stuff. But he would allow a federal fort to be built. That's the same thing the Sultan was doing back in those days and was always doing. Was he would build a national fort that was ran by the Sultan and his Moroccan forces, but the individuals, confederacies and tribes, they would have their own little post in their own little area. You know what I'm saying? It's always been that way. You know what I mean? So this is one of the Moorish sheiks wrote something about the Sultan and said what he said the Sultan left not a single tribe of Moroccan Maghreb with horses or weapons. Okay, only the Black Guard, the Odias, the Ait Amor, the Geech, and the Fifins, while Pheasants began a holy war against Kuta. So essentially, what it's saying is, if you didn't want to maintain this is essentially what they're saying. During these wars in the 1600s and all of that, the only people that had authority to have weapons, guns, and all this stuff were literally the Moors and the Moroccans and the Muslims. You know what I'm saying, and all the people that were allied with them. A lot of the clowns and the goofies, the Christian slaves, and all these people, they couldn't have weapons. They couldn't have nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, only the Moors in old America. So when they're talking about the colonies and the white people and the fake white people that had all the guns and the authority, and the so-called slaves couldn't have nothing. Literally, it just said the Moroccan, he didn't leave a single gun or horse to nobody but the Moors. So the Moors had everything in old America. They had all the rights. They had the weapons. They had the guns. You know what I'm saying? So you had to be a Moor in pre-United States America to really be able to move and shake like that. And we've been driving home with a lot of these drops. You know what I'm saying? So again, when the Moors have always been telling y'all for years that historically the so-called whites were the Moors, it just said it right there. You know what I'm saying? Only the Moors had the guns back in the old America, outside of the European nobles and stuff. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, let's just talk. Now we're gonna talk about Moulay Ismail, his life and his biography and everything like that. And again, a lot of Mississippian people, a lot of y'all suffer. And again, you get no respect out here because you really don't honor your ancestors. Again, this is an American legend. A lot of y'all might even be related to it. Y'all have nobody ever talks about this man. You know what I'm saying? Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif. Y'all don't honor y'all ancestors. Y'all sit up here honoring some Harriet Tubmans and some Ida B. Wells and some Adam C.J. Walker, just goofball stuff. You know what I'm saying? These are your real ancestors that really fought, shed blood, and put it down for you. And you got to honor these people. You know what I'm saying? Do the real knowledge. That's why you got to get clowns like Turtlegang out the way, because they trying to hide this real history. Once you start re-embracing and reawakening the spirits of your ancestors and the frequency of your ancestors, trust me, your power in this land will be unlimited. You feel me? So, all right, now during Ismail Ibn Sharif's reign, now he was a monster. Now don't get it messed up, but you can't judge it because they were at war. They were being invaded from all sides. There was a lot of people bucking around the world. I mean, these are world leaders. These are people who he was trying to keep order. So it's just going to be bloody. You know what I'm saying? And he had Christians, he got Catholics and all these people going to war against us, trying to invade us everywhere and all that stuff. So yeah, it's going to get bloody. But anyway, it said during Ismail Ibn Sharif's reign, he allegedly had 36,000. He had 36,000 people killed. Or he killed 36,000 people in war and all that stuff in America or whatever. And he had 20,000 people assassinated. So this man, he was a mob boss for real. Like, again, they don't hate niggas now for no reason. This was a nigga. You know what I'm saying? He had 20,000 people assassinated. And he killed over 36,000 people. You know what I'm saying? Now, these Europeans nowadays, they put all that to shame. You know what I'm saying? Like, they kill millions of people there on a regular basis. But, these dirty these dirty communist people now, they put all that to shame. Now, you know what I'm saying? But still, that's a lot of folks, you know what I'm saying? He was a monster, you feel me? But it is what it is. I mean, it's war, you know what I'm saying? He was just trying to protect he was fighting to protect Morocco from the nonsense, you know what I'm saying? So, America from the nonsense. So, it's going to be bloody and people are going to have to some people got to get the hell up out of here. You know what I'm saying? It's real. Let's see. Okay, that's how they describe Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif. They said his face was long. He had a long face that was more black than white. Okay, so they just going to tell you that Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif was a Mississippian American nigga. You know what I'm saying? All day, every day. They said the Christians called him a bloodthirsty monster, but they were just mad because, again, they gonna call him that because, but any Christian, any of these people, they don't like, they you know, these people want everybody to bow down. They just think that they have the divine right to do whatever they want to do. These, you know what I'm saying? These people who worship all these idols and all this other stuff, these pagans and these idol worshipers and all these clowns. They hate people that won't just exalt them over them and let them do what they want to do. So the Moors historically will not let these people, these idol worshiping pagan type of people, do whatever they want to do. We put the smack down on these clowns. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they gonna call you a barbarian or bloodthirsty, but it just is what it is. You're just not gonna come. You're not gonna come to America and practice that demonic culture. You're just not gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you call me a thug, call me bloodthirsty all you want. You finna get these things put on you. You know what I'm saying? But it said he was very religious and very disciplined, okay? And that, again, this is Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif, the reigning leader of Morocco. Now, that's the difference between the Moors. The Moors are religious and disciplined people. That's the difference between, that's why you Abos and you Indians and the rest of you clowns, y'all are at the bottom of society. Y'all are nobodies because y'all are some undisciplined goofies. And so-called Mississippian, so-called black culture now is an undisciplined, it's very undisciplined and silly culture for worship and entertainment and just goofball stuff. You know what I'm saying? But Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif, he was religious and disciplined. That's why he was running shit. You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all can't get on that level. You know what I'm saying? That's why literally y'all at the bottom of society. And the Moors used to be at the top. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference. That's why Indians, Aboriginals, Pan-Africans will always be nobodies because y'all are not religious. Y'all are not spiritual, and y'all are not disciplined. You know what I'm saying? And y'all have no problem following other nations like clowns. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, yeah, that's also why y'all got a foot put up y'all ass and goddamn the old America by the Moors, because the Moors were religious, spiritual, and disciplined, and y'all were undisciplined back then. That's why y'all got smacked around all on them colonies and everything. That's why Turtlegang sitting up here talking about his ancestors got beat up by the English because they even back then y'all were undisciplined. So the Moors had to put the hammer down on you clowns, even back then. You know what I'm saying? Y'all are goofies, straight up. And we were disciplined and religious because we were the ones defending America while y'all was playing around, BSing around, partying and BSing around on these colonies with these Europeans. We was out here in the navies and the ships handling business, being ceremonious, having a disciplined, noble culture out here, maintaining that, not playing no games. Y'all was in here partying, BSing around just like y'all do now. You wonder why y'all get no respect. You know what I'm saying? But the Moors are still in the dungeon putting it down as work. What's the Mo doing right now? What you doing right now? You know what I'm saying? Smoking, drinking, and BSing around, I'm sure. All right, now, it said, okay, just doing his biography. He made Meknes, Chicago, his capital in 1672. And he constructed, this is Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif, he constructed gates, mosques, gardens, and madrasas, all in Chicago. And again, you can verify this by looking at the Columbian Exposition of 1893 in Chicago. And you can verify that Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif built Chicago up like that because it ain't nothing but palaces, gardens, and lagoons, and all type of Moorish palaces and Moorish mosques all over Chicago. All of it's torn down now by these Sailor Yankee communist clowns. And they're going to have to pay for that. But you can tell this is true. You know what I'm saying? And so, again, why the Moors is in America building palaces, mosques, madrasas, and gardens, and hanging gardens and all that? Why is Turtlegang and the rest of the Abo Indian clowns living in wood shacks and teepees and wigwams and dirt shacks and shit like that? Because y'all, again, man, y'all are some infidel, goofy clowns, and y'all got slapped around in old America, and you finna get slapped around in the future America. You best believe that. You know what I'm saying? Because the Mississippians ain't taking no shorts from you clowns. You know what I'm saying? Mecca all day on you clowns. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because y'all, boy, I tell you. All right, anyway. So, it said that, Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif, he took on many construction projects in different cities, mainly Meknes, Chicago. He said to build his first palaces, to build his main palace, the first palace he built in Chicago, he had 25,000 workers, mostly paid, and Christian slaves who were first forced to work. They were the ones who upgraded and built up Meknes, aka Chicago. So again, if you got Christian slaves working in Chicago building stuff and forced labor, y'all wonder why y'all get treated bad now, and why they hate niggas now. And they gonna always hate niggas, because again, this is how they got did back in the day. They had some niggas putting their ass to forced labor. You know what I'm saying? Let's just keep it a buck. In old America, they were doing the forced labor. We would sit up here balling out on their clown, balling out noble turbans and on these clowns. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. And then it said that he would sometimes Ismail Ibn Sharif, he would come around and slap workers around sometimes, and they said he might punish or execute workers that they didn't do the right thing or they were doing bad work or whatever. Now that almost damn near sounded like somebody like Suge Knight, you know what I'm saying? So that barbarian type of Moorish ruler or whatever, that ain't nothing new under the sun. It literally sounded like Ismail Ibn Sharif like a damn Suge Knight. You know how they talk about at death row. If you didn't do your thing, they would beat you down in the studio and stuff like that. That sound like what Moulay Ismail, how he was running it up there on the slaves and stuff like that. So it is what it is. But now it said that the fortification on the first palace he built is also called a Kashba. You know what I'm saying? It was 23 kilometers long. So that means Chicago, Mecca, used to be fortified, had fortification walls around it back in the day. They said it was 23 kilometers long, and that's how we live. Indians don't got no fortified cities, but Moors do, nigga. You know what I'm saying? And he said he also had hanging gardens resembling Babylon in his first palace. So basically, man, Chicago used to be a pristine, holy city, man. These Europeans and these communist settler clowns have really destroyed a lot of Moorish holy cities, and they really got to pay for that. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all sat up here and y'all were mad because y'all got slapped around, but the reason y'all got slapped around in old America was because y'all don't know how to act when it comes to holy, clean, pristine civilization. Y'all can't be disciplined and carry yourselves a certain type of way, noble way. Y'all just can't do it, so y'all got slapped around and put in y'all place. We didn't want y'all tearing up these cities, which when you settler clowns and all you communist clowns, when y'all got access to these places, what did y'all do? Y'all burnt them down and tore them up. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's why y'all got slapped around in old America. It is what it is. Now, it also said that after he built his first palace, he laid the foundations for a project called Dar el Makhzen. Okay. And what happened with that was that was kind of a linked it was a grid plan that linked around 50 palaces, and all of the palaces contained their own hammams. They all had their own mosques for his wives, concubines, and children. Okay, and again, if you look at pictures of old Chicago, it looks just like that. It's all these Moorish palaces. It's all these, you know what I'm saying? It's all these holy sites, lagoons, gardens, and everything. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that verifies everything about this story. You feel me? All right, now, it said he also built in Meknes or Mecca. He built Madinat al-Riyad, and that was the residence of viziers, governors, court officials, secretaries, all these type of buildings. So, and they said that a lot of people came. He said one Frenchman described it as the beauty of Mecca, the beauty of Meknes, or the beauty of Mecca, Chicago. So again, a lot of this stuff can be verified through the Columbian Exposition of 1893, the so-called White City, Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Everything that he allegedly built at that time, Chicago looks just like that. Again, it was hella Moorish and hella Islamic. So, that just goes to show that these settler clowns, when they came in and they did all these race wars and all these race riots and all that in Chicago, they was hating on. They were destroying a holy Moorish city. And again, See, the Moors in old America, we got holy Islamic cities all in America. What do you Aboriginals and Indians and clowns, American Indian clowns have? Y'all have nothing. Y'all got villages with goddamn dirt long houses and goddamn ugly thatched mud huts and stuff like that. That's what y'all got. But we live in holy Moorish cities like Chicago, like Buffalo, New York, like Fez, New York City, like Philadelphia, you know what I'm saying? AKA Marrakesh. Those are the Moorish holy cities we was living in. So y'all keep y'all little mud huts and dirt shacks, you know what I'm saying? Check it out. It also said that he dug a reservoir. He had a reservoir dug to supply water to the gardens. He built He built prisons to hold Christian slaves. So you know how they got the niggas mass incarcerated now, but it was the entire reverse. So I already told y'all that the American Revolution was they were saying fuck the Moorish police, while NWA said fuck the police. Back in those days, it was fuck the Moorish police because he just said he got prisons for his Christian slaves. So in old America, it was the reverse of how it is now. You know what I'm saying? Again, that's why they hate niggas. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But they can hate niggas all they want. It is what it is. But we just giving real nigga history and giving y'all the perspective of why. Because they want to tell you that you was a slave and they just hate you. But they wouldn't hate you so bad if you was just a slave. You know what I'm saying? You was just a helpless slave getting worked on a plantation. You wouldn't get hated so bad like you are now. They hate you because you were running, because you were slapping them around in old America. You know what I'm saying? Don't get it messed up. No. All right, now, let's see. So he had prisons in Chicago to hold Christian slaves. He built all around Mecca, Chicago. He built mosques, madrasas, public squares, city gates, gardens. Okay, again, this is how I'm gonna tell y'all again how the Moors were living in old America, while you Aboriginals and the American Indians and Pan African clowns was living in dirt shacks and teepees and tents and stuff. It just said, Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif built mosques, madrasas, public squares, city gates, and gardens in Mecca, Chicago. So that's how the Moors was living, and you Aboriginals was living in dirt shacks. Okay, you are nowhere near the Himalayan mountains of the Moors. Okay, just kill yourself. You know what I'm saying? All right. It also said that he constructed many forts in the east of the country and in different territories of tribes and nations. So again, we just talked about how just like they got federal forts now, U.S. Army forts in different states now. It just said that Moulay Ismail, the Sultan, built many Moroccan forts in different territories of the country, in different Confederate zones. Okay, so there's nothing new under the sun. You know what I'm saying? That's how it's always going down in America. It's always been a big conglomerate of confederacies with one, you know, with a central executive leader. You know what I'm saying? Who has limited authority. All right. Yeah. He said he also rebuilt cities and protective walls. He said all of the cities, all of the Moorish cities, all of the large cities and major centers they were heavily manned with black guard members, okay, with the Moroccan army and Moroccan forces. So all of the major cities, so the Buffalo, New Yorks, the Cleveland, Ohios, you know what I'm saying? The Baltimores, the Phillies, the Memphis, you know what I'm saying? The Chicagos, all of these cities. It just said, all up and down the East Coast and all of that, it just said that they were manned heavily by Moroccan forces mainly of the Black Guard, and also they said they were manned by the Black Guard and the Jaish tribes, okay? The Yeish tribes and the Jaish tribes. Okay, so again, don't that line completely up in the east of the country. He's just saying that they all had the Black Guard Moroccan forces was heavy in these cities. Now don't that line up perfectly when they talk about the British Redcoats being all on the East Coast, being heavy all on the East Coast in all these cities. So again, man, I want y'all to imagine historic Philadelphia, or historic Baltimore, or historic New York, historic Cleveland, Ohio, historic Toledo, Ohio, any of these, Louisville, Kentucky, whatever. I want y'all to imagine all these cities having these big old forces of Moorish men huge garrisons of forts of Moorish men, Moorish redcoats in these cities. So when they talk about the Revolutionary War, when they was doing a rebellion against the redcoats, the loyalists, they was talking about the niggas, nigga. You know what I'm saying? So the British redcoats, the loyalist army was the nigga Black Guard army, by and large. So those loyalists that they was fighting, that the Americans was fighting, were the Black Guard, nigga. It was Moors. It was the loyalist Moors who was loyal to the Sultan. You know what I'm saying? Bruh, I mean, come on, man. So y'all, so again, man, and again, no beef with the United States. Again, it's always been a noble agreement, but I want y'all to just do it. I want y'all to really understand when y'all are doing all this 4th of July and all this stuff. And these Europeans talking about they got free. Yeah, they got free. But I want y'all to understand who they were fighting. They were fighting your ancestors, Mississippian people. You know what I'm saying? The redcoats was the niggas, nigga. The British redcoats was the niggas. I'm going to say that again. I want y'all to imagine all of these cities with huge garrisons and forts of niggas in red coats. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what it was in the colonial times. Okay? So the loyalists, or the so-called black loyalists of Great Britain or whatever, these were the Black Guard loyal to the Sultan, man. You know what I'm saying? And evidently they were very oppressive to the Europeans. You know what I'm saying? So all of them colonies, man, y'all, I'm telling you, man, like the niggas was slapping folks around on them colonies, man. It was not a game, you know what I'm saying? You know, it is what it is. Why they don't like y'all now, you know what I'm saying? And they don't like me neither, they don't like none of us, you know. All right. So the American British, I want y'all to remember the American British Army, the British Redcoats, that was always the Sultan's Black Guard. You know what I'm saying? That's always what that was. They gave you this fake rewritten American history, but that was always who that was. So when you hear our PNF call them the Americans and all that stuff, that's exactly who they were. They were the Moorish army was the redcoats in America. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm gonna have a video. I'm gonna post a pic right after this drop. When this drop is over, and it's just gonna show. It's gonna have a picture of Sharif Moulay Ibn Sharif in Chicago. It's gonna say it's in Mecca, so he's in. But we know it's Chicago, but it's gonna have him on a horse with his imperial guard, with his immediate guard. But it's gonna have a whole bunch of Moorish redcoats standing in the background. So that's gonna prove to you clowns that the redcoats was the niggas. So Turtlegang's ancestors was getting slapped up by some redcoat niggas, Moorish niggas loyal to the Sultan. So kill yourself, man. Again, y'all credibility is smashed after this one, bro. There's no coming back, man. You know what I'm saying? Just kill yourself. All right, now almost done. We about to wrap it up in a minute. So it also said that Ben Sharif imported African slaves from the sub-Saharan Africa. We already talked about how we ran into North Africa in 1591. So yeah, we was probably bringing in Africans. African Christians that we caught from over there and making them fight over here and all. You know, we was just, again, that's how so many people were in America after a while. They weren't Mississippian, but were subject to us. And eventually they had enough people to rebel and all of that. You know what I'm saying? But that's why. So he imported African slaves and it said he also had a large contingent of free black Moroccans. Okay? So that's the Mississippians. So we brought in Africans who they were bringing in African slaves or African POWs and making them fight in the Moroccan army. And then you have free black Moroccans who are the indigenous Mississippians who was in his army. You know what I'm saying? So there you go. And it said that, okay, this is how he did the black. So the black guards are the red coats. Okay, the so-called British red coats are the black guard. Okay, so it said that this is how they used to raise up the black guard. They said all of the people in the black guards, they received military education from age 10 to 16, and they married black women who were raised in the royal palace. So again, how was these some black slaves? How would you know what I'm saying? This is how goofy these people are. They try to give you this fake history. It said that the black guards that they were given a military education from age 10 to 16, which means that they were probably just like Mississippian people were probably sending their children like at a certain age to go be developed as military men in the Black Guard. That's how we were, man. We would have a lot of children. We would send some of them to military service and stuff like that. That's that old noble knight culture that's always been in America and even over in Europe and all of that. And anywhere the culture is Moorish, that's just how it was. So it said that the Black Guard, the guards received a military education from age 10 to 16. And then they married black women who were they were raised in the royal palace. So they literally raised so man, imagine that lifestyle, man. You know what I'm saying? You get raised up as a military expert, right? And then you get to marry, and then they arrange for you to marry a noble Moorish woman who was raised in the royal palace. Bruh, you just can't mess with noble culture. You just can't really fathom or get nowhere close to the old Moorish noble culture we used to have. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just beautiful. You know what I'm saying? While you show me some aboriginal clowns or some American Indian clowns with Turtlegang clowns that live a culture like that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all out here doing ooga booga dances again. Y'all doing ooga booga dances and shooting arrows like clowns. You know what I'm saying? Kill yourself. Do the aboriginals and the American Indian Lenape lanes, do y'all raise up the Black Guard Army, the Red Coat Army, and train and mold children from age 10 to 16? Do y'all do anything like that? No, nigga, y'all sit up, smoke peace pipes and smoke tobacco on y'all sit up there and smoke tobacco in your wood huts and your wigwams and your dirt shacks, nigga. Kill yourself, nigga. Next time you hate on the Moors, bro, I want you to see, bro, all this hatred of the Moors that you done did over the years that literally has brought this Death Star to your life, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, kill yourself, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, now you got the Death Star that's finna follow you everywhere you go. You know what I mean? Like, you're done, son. You're done. All right. Let's see. Okay, now he said he built, okay. This is how Moulay Ismail was rolling, man. This is a great man, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a real American legend. This is who you need. This is your real ancestors, man. Giving you real nigga history. It said that he built more than 76 kasbahs, which was palaces, and military posts in Morocco. Okay, so he built more than 76 palaces during his reign. That's crazy. And military posts. And again, if you look at pictures of old America, it's palaces everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So again, there were palaces before Moulay Ismail, but he built 76 of them in his reign. So he beautified America. So when these goofy Europeans got their little freedom and they started moving west coast, they started moving west and destroying everything. A lot of that stuff, they were destroying a lot of this man's work, I'm sure. You know what I'm saying? Because he built 76 palaces, nigga, all in America. You know what I'm saying? So this is what you settler communist clowns destroyed. Y'all really, and again, y'all got a lot of karmic debt to pay, and we're more than happy to make you pay it. Believe that. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. It said that, okay, we already talked about how it said all of the major cities had Moroccan forces stationed, that they all had garrisons of Moors, you know. They had large garrisons of Moroccan forces. And so again, all the old major cities in America, they had huge forces of niggas that was running everything. So it was slapping Europeans around and goofballs around all day, every day. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, that's why y'all hate niggas now. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you just really have no clue, man. You really don't know. All right, about to shut it down. But on a last note, before we close out, just want to talk about Sidi Muhammad III. That's Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif's grandson. He was the Sultan of Morocco when the United States was created or whatever. He's known. This is how you know. Again, this is how you know. It said that he moved the capital from Meknes, which is Chicago, to Marrakesh, which is Philly. You know what I'm saying? And it's historically known that the Treaty of Peace of Friendship was signed on the Delaware River. You know what I'm saying? Which is historically called the Treaty of Marrakesh. But we already told y'all the historic city of Marrakesh is Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? So, and everybody know that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, real moles know that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying nothing that's a goddamn secret, but you goofies don't know that. You know what I'm saying? And also, so this is how you know this was happening in the Revolutionary War. He didn't really care for the Black Guard, which is the Red Coat Army. So it said that what he did was he dispersed the Black Guard and the Red Coat Army out of Chicago, out of that area, and he garrisoned a lot. He sent a lot of them to the East Coast. So because they had such high standing in society from all of the conquering they did under his grandfather. That they was acting up. They was doing they was like acting like a rogue force. The Red Coast was acting like a rogue force, doing what they wanted to do after he died, because they were so respected. You know what I'm saying, in society. So he said Sidi Muhammad III, he sent a lot of the Red Coast to the East Coast. Now wouldn't that line up to when the Revolutionary War happened, and it was all of the Red Coast, all up and down the East Coast. So Sidi Muhammad sent them over there. You know what I'm saying? He was trying to get them out of Chicago because he didn't really like them like that, because he thought they were troublemakers. And it would make sense if he didn't like them like that. It would make sense to how he would recognize the United States in 1777, the same year that the so-called Iroquois allegedly extinguished their ceremonial flame, which was 1777. So you know what I'm saying? So if he recognized the United States in 1777 and the Iroquois allegedly dissolved in 1777, come on, bro. Come on, bro. I mean, bro. So anyway, man, I just wanted to do the knowledge of the great Moulay Ismail Ibn Sharif. You know what I'm saying? We're just driving it home that America is Al-Marak. You know what I mean? It always was. American Indians, Aboriginals, and Pan-African clowns they've always been Hollywood crisis actors and nobodies trying to hide the Moorish history, the Muslim history of the country. You know what I'm saying? These people have no religion, they have no God, and they just a bunch of damn Aboriginals running around shooting arrows and bows, doing ooga booga dances like goofies. You know what I'm saying? They are literally nobodies. You know what I'm saying? And then one more thing for you Aboriginals and clowns. You know what I'm saying? And you federally recognized clowns. This is how you know y'all are under the Moors. Why did George Washington? Everybody know the knowledge to this, but why did George Washington have to sit up here in 1789 and write a letter to the Sultan, Sidi Muhammad III, to beg for more time to pay tribute? You know what I'm saying? So you Aboriginals and federally recognized goofy clowns, you know what I'm saying, that bow down to your bosses back in those days, had to write and ask the Sultan for more time to pay tribute. So that just goes to show you that in America, y'all are like, nigga, y'all are like a whole Empire State Building below the Moors. You know what I'm saying? So just kill yourself. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I did a marathon tonight. Hope y'all, you know what I'm saying? Hope y'all got something from it. Sheekamauga Alamassee-El tapping in live from Arabia. I'll tap back in with y'all later. Peace.